Good evening everyone and welcome to the Thermaltake Sprint Series Split Yellow. My name's Aidan Squires and I'm here tonight joined by Dave Stevenson. We've got an interesting night of racing ahead of us. Dave, how you going?
Good evening, Aidan, and good evening, everyone looking in YouTube virtual reality land. Mate, I'm super excited to see this hot, wild COTA race tonight. I think it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to keep it on track, who's going to set some fast lap times, and who's going to come away with, in 45 minutes, a podium or a victory. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a tyre cooker tonight. The temps are pretty high. I do remember seeing it in the high 20 degrees in terms of the track and ambient temperatures. So tyres definitely going to warm up today, especially if you're driving a boat like a GTR or something like a Mustang as well, as Lucas Keys is doing. McLaren maybe not so much, but we see Ishan Lele here in that Cheetos McLaren, the very iconic orange car. You can always spot it from miles away, as the cars are on their first flying laps, I believe. They've already completed their out lap and they're going through the stages of their first flying lap. Here's Lele just coming off the back of that massive long straight down the back into this tricky infield section that winds its way through the end of Sector 2 and into Sector 3.
It's going to be interesting tonight to see kind of how the different cars approach this type of race, because there's three kind of very distinct sectors in this track. You know, there's the first sector, which is really kind of fast and flowy through the S's, and then we've got the super long back straight, and then into this really technical third sector. So it'd be really interesting to see kind of how these mid-engine cars handle. Can they skip away enough to be in front of the likes of the Nissans and the Bentleys before they get to that long back straight? And I think it'll be for those other cars trying to stay close enough so they can take advantage of their extra horsepower and straight line handling.
Yeah, well, the championship leader, Paul Britt, is in the Ferrari, which, as many of you may know, isn't particularly the best car on the longer sort of straights. And it is quite vulnerable when there's something like a GTR right behind it and it has a tow, cough, cough, Lucas Keys. So, there is a possibility that the Ferrari particularly is quite vulnerable going down that long back straight. But like you said, if he can build enough of a gap in this sort of infield section and also the sort of flowy section in Sector 1 that the Ferrari will be pretty good at, he should have a decent chance of maintaining the lead, as it is just a 45-minute race, no pit stops, just basically flat out balls to the walls for those 45. Try not to cook your tyres too much, as you don't want to be stopping for a pit stop because you'll lose a bunch of time. So it's going to be a kind of tricky balance to maintain that tyre in this heat, especially if you're driving a bigger car, as mentioned before. And that's possibly going to throw in some cars that maybe don't have the raw pace but are better at conserving their tyres.
Talking about tyres a little bit, I think there's a bit of strategy in the qualifying session as well. A 2-minute lap time or 2-minute plus lap time, and only 12 minutes. You've only essentially got 6 laps to complete, and a lot of these guys usually like to have a bit of a pit stop in the middle to get some fresh tyres. But I'm not sure that's really an option or much of an option tonight. Obviously if you're out the front like Eshan here and kind of got some clear track, you might get an extra lap in, but the guys down the back are only probably going to get 3, if not 4 laps in before time expires, let alone a valid lap. So we all know how the track here is quite vulnerable and quite susceptible to giving you an extra the track limit warning. So interesting.
Yeah, well, like you were saying, obviously that's 6 laps, providing they're all valid. So it's incredibly easy to invalidate here, as you have to use quite a bit of the runoff and extra bit of track, as we see Ben Vintner do exactly that on the entry to the second last corner, that fast left-hander, and into the final corner as well. So he's kept this lap fairly clean. This is going to bump him up to I think P2 as he jumps up, but there is still 5 minutes left in the quali, with quite a few quick people yet to do laps, like Saxon Hayes, who we've just jumped to on board in that Japanese police-style GTR. 8 tenths up coming through this tricky section, so that's a pretty good delta. I'm going to assume he hasn't properly done a lap yet, so He's going to continue to gain here, and hopefully he can maintain this and not invalidate in the last few corners. But yeah, very tricky track. You can easily rack up drive-through from track warnings in 45 minutes here. So if any of these guys have done a bit of practice, I bet that's what they're focusing on, just keeping it valid, not invalidating too much, because it doesn't matter how quick you are, if you're racking up those warnings, you're definitely going to lose more time by serving a drive-through.
I did a couple of practice races here through the week, and the one race that I was very happy with, I actually put down a valid lap very early, and that seemed to help me with the no time gained track limit warning. So I think that might be something that we look at in the first few laps, is how fast they're actually pushing the race pace early, to see if they can get a valid lap in to save themselves maybe a couple of those track warning pop-ups as they come through. So that'll be something to watch as the early race pace comes on board. But yeah, Saxon, I was talking to Saxon through the week. He was not happy with how hot this track was. So when you've said if it's only high 20s, I think he'll be a pretty happy man, because I think a lot of our laps have been in the mid 30s through the week. So hopefully that might help him out a little bit.
Yeah. The McLarens of Johnson, Rondinella and Buskovus have all just kind of lined up in this 5th, 6th and 7th. Rondinella doing pretty well to get up there in the McLaren, and this track is definitely one that you have to do quite a lot of practice on to really get the groove. It's quite difficult. I don't really find it's one of those ones where you can just jump in and set laps, because it's obviously so technical and quite unforgiving with the track limits, as has been mentioned. And Wesley Yau's going to jump up to P7, which is a good effort from that Porsche. That thing did used to have a metric ton of bop on it. I'm not sure if it does anymore, but I remember it used to have like 30 something kilos a while ago. So the tyres are definitely going to be hurting a little bit coming through that long right-hander towards the end of the track.
That is definitely not going to be a happy man if it's still got 30 kilos of bop on board. Benny Vinti exercising every metre possible through this sector 1. Thought he might have gone invalid through that left-hander there, but keeps the rotation going and into my worst 2 corners on the track. This next little left-hander right here is the death of me. For some reason, I can't hold it flat out. And if I do, I end up in the wall. So I'll be watching very closely tonight before our split red tomorrow, Aiden, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking on board with Britty, I'm expecting him to lay down a bit quicker time, as he has been fairly dominant throughout the season, just in terms of quality and raw pace. He has had some little upsets, but oh wow, that's a big slide coming through. Yeah, and he's invalidated, he's gone off. So he's going to have one more lap. I think he just needs to get back in the game in terms of his headspace and just put together another solid lap, because I reckon if he can, he's only 3.5 tenths off, so I think just putting it together, he should be able to jump up at least another spot to get on the front row.
Mate, I think looking at the times that you guys set last week, or these guys set last week in yellow, and especially at Watkins Glen, how tight the times were, looking at already 14, 15 here, 1.5 seconds off, I think it's going to spread out relatively quickly. The top of the pops are really laying down some fast lap times, but there is a bit of a collection of cars here, 10 through 20, that seem to be all within a couple of tenths. So, these last few laps are going to be quite vital, whether or not they can eke out, an extra row or two up the field. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with that.
Yeah, 100%. And as well, turn 1 is basically just a big straight braking zone, so there's a lot of possibility for some shenanigans. So you want to try get yourself as much out of that danger zone as you can of the kind of the midfield, as people do tend to go for some pretty interesting moves, let's say, into turn 1 on this track. As Lele now heads onto his final lap, we're going to jump on board here. He's heading through this long right-hander of 2, then he's going to jump into 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, which are these fast flowing left and right sections. Incredibly easy to invalidate and also just lose control of the car. Very difficult, also kind of technical section here, as he's going to sweep the wheel back to the left for this long sort of left-hander. Be very patient for this right-hander. You don't want to get on the throttle too early or go out too wide, as you'll invalidate. He keeps it nice and tidy through there. He's up, but he is going to lose a little bit of delta on exit, so He's definitely going to have to work a little bit harder to get that back now as he heads into this difficult 90-degree, well, I think it's more than 90-degree actually, left-hander of 11 onto the very long straight, but he has got the power down quite nicely, and he's going to bring back that delta a little bit more towards him as he's up a 10th, and Vintner, Britt and Hayes are all in the pits, so they've all finished their qualifying session. So it looks like Lele, unless there's an upset coming from a bit further back down the grid, he should be able to take out this pole. As we see, Johnson's going to come across the line 2/10 up. That's going to knock him up to P4. And it's going to knock down Saxon Hayes and I think Rondinella as well. But Lele's still maintaining that green delta as he's coming to the end of the lap.
I think Ashan, Lele's was the only car to actually pit halfway through this session. So, this is probably only the second lap in terms of the coming out after being pitted. So, kind of prime time to tyre pressure and position to see if he can kind of maximise his time on the track. But just stuck with that 0-0 delta. So, kind of at that point where he's maximised, he's gone a little bit hard into the last corner. Can he keep it across the line because it's only so close? He does. He just improves it by just a slight margin to a 2:05.435. So Lele absolutely lightning, being pole by over 3/10. I think that must be our biggest margin, I would say.
Yeah, that's a really good effort from Lele. He hasn't always been right on the top during quali, but clearly he's put some practice in and he understands the track pretty well here. At COTA to be able to take out that pole on what is a pretty strong grid with Vintner next to him and Luke Johnson and Paul Britt right next to him. So well done to Lele for taking out that pole. And there's some other people a little bit further back who've also done a pretty good job. I'd say Saxon Hayes has done a pretty good job, judging by the fact you said that he didn't really like the heat that was going on. He's managed to put that GTR fairly high up. So yeah,
I would like to know if Raupi or Marshall are racing tonight, because they are two hot contenders for our championship in split yellow, and I have not seen the Boatley, and I've not seen the Mustang of Mr. Raupi, so might be time for Mr. Benny Vintner to try and capitalise on some no-shows tonight in the championship standings. So that's if anyone in YouTube world can tell me whether or not they're in or they're out tonight, that would be fantastic as well. But yeah, shout out to YouTube chat while we're here.
Yeah, well, I've noticed Raupi already has his drop round in as 0. So if he misses this round, which I assume he is, he's going to lose an additional round, obviously, because he's already had his drop round. So he's going to lose quite a lot of points in the championship, and dare I say that'll be enough to put him down quite a bit. So that's going to be a bit of a blow to his championship. I'm not sure. I think Marshall has a drop round spare, so he can afford to miss this round. But yeah, that's a bit disappointing for Raupi.
Mate, before we get too focused on the racing tonight, mate, I want to give a bit of a shout out to all the volunteers that went down to PAX on the weekend. There was some photos floating around. I didn't see too many, but Aiden, can you tell me a little bit more about it? Who was fastest in the sim rig, if you went at all?
I did not go because I don't live in Melbourne, and a plane ticket from Perth to Melbourne is quite expensive these days. But I do have some friends that went. I believe Logan Burton went down there, set a pretty quick lap. I think he was second only to Pip, who, as usual, just obliterated everyone. I'm sure no one is particularly surprised by that. But yeah, we want to say thanks to all the volunteers and people who went down there from OOR to PAX, and I'm sure you guys made everything go along smoothly and were nice and friendly, and told anyone interested about sim racing to jump in and join OOR.
Nate, I think you just hit the nail on the head, right? Like wanting to join an amazing community. I think I've been blessed this year to jump on board and race a lot with a lot of you guys now in Sprint Series, but the Academy Series is such a great stepping stone into the sim racing world, rather than racing AI or just the random public lobbies. So OOR does an amazing job, and if you're listening and thinking about it, make sure you join the Academy Series on a Tuesday night. And yeah, it's an awesome opportunity for a lot of drivers.
I can definitely second that. I don't know if you started an academy, but I did myself, and it was a pretty good experience. I've really only got good things to say about it. And thanks to also all the academy stewards and people who run it, particularly Logan and Hobbsy as well. They do great work down there. But now we start the formation lap for split yellow. Obviously, like I said before, 45 minutes. Don't put wet tyres on, because then you're a bit silly. As long as you don't do that, you should be fine.
Mate, everyone pull your socks up, sit forward in your chair, get a cup of coffee, sweet beverage if that suits your fancy as well, because I think this is going to be a thick and fast race. I think it's going to be high octane and fast paced the whole way through. 45 minutes doesn't give much opportunity to make up with some pit stops. So I think there might be a few marginal passes potentially with some of those hard braking zones, especially in that first lap. And I think there might be a few people looking to try and maximise some track position early.
Yeah, obviously I do not see Lucas Keys' name in that top sort of 23, so I think he's going from a little bit further back. I think Lucas doesn't mind this track. He's fairly good here, so expect to see him come through the field, as I'm sure most of you are already used to. Jamie Comboy as well. I think he's a new addition to this split. Car number 117 in the GTR. I'm sure you guys will probably recognise the Pixel Racers livery he's got on. I suspect in that GTR, as the cars start to weave a little bit, try to get some heat into those tyres, although I dare say the heat from the track and the ambient temperature will probably make that a little bit easier than what we might see normally.
Mate, there is no need to weave, guys. We're straight on. Yeah, just wheel failure. Mate, there's no need to weave. I weaved round one at Paul Ricard and put myself into the fence. Greatest achievement so far on Sprint Series camera for myself. So don't do that and put yourself in a fence before the race starts. But there was a Mustang going straight on. Was a Mustang going straight on. Interesting to see if they take this spot back.
Armstrong, the black Mustang, if I'm not mistaken. It's number 20. I can't quite see on the thing, but that's a bit strange to see go straight on, because he's on a controller, so it wouldn't be a wheel issue.
Flat battery.
Yeah, maybe like that Xbox controller disconnected thing.
Oh no, we'll see if he becomes rear. He comes coming racing back through. It must have had to have been a disconnect issue. Is he going to make it back to his position in time, or do we have to sit at the back of the field now?
He's definitely going to have to go from the back. I don't think he's going to be close enough. But anyway,
all right.
Take away the start here.
Race fans, we've got Lele on pole in the Cheetos McLaren, Benny Vincent in the Motul, Paul Britt starting out of P3, and Lucas Johnson in P4 in the McLaren. So a bit of a McLaren, Aston, Ferrari feel here at the front of the field, waiting a long time here to come up to our green flag, and they're waiting at 70 k's an hour. Green, that held so long. So I wonder how deep all these competitors are going to go into turn one. Uphill, how deep, and spreading out 4 or 5 wide. Porsche going around the outside, trying to take advantage. They're looking pretty clean. 5 wide at the back here. Something out in the marbles, and it looks like we've got Paul Britt around the outside of Benji Vincent into P2 already, into the S's. So that Ferrari having an amazing start out of P3 and capitalising on maybe being a little bit more aggressive early on and taking advantage of Benny Vinter having a little bit of a moment there through turn one.
Yeah, Britty just getting the power down a little bit better and just, being able to take that spot around the outside as the rest of the cars filter through fairly cleanly. I don't think I saw any incidents. Pascal Armstrong has gone into the pits and gone around again, but as we head into turn 11 here, this tight right-hander going onto the straight for the first time, we might see that Nissan of both Saxon Hayes and Lucas Keys able to make up some ground here, and there's contact. Kieran Reid, I believe, is around in the Audi, so it's been a little bit of bumping down the back of the field into that sharp corner, which is, sorry to say, fairly common there because it's such a tight corner on the first lap.
We had Jensen going up the inside there, trying to put a pass on a white McLaren as well. So exactly what we were saying early in the broadcast was those rear-wheel drive front engine cars having that little bit extra pace down the main straight. Zach Jensen putting that to good work early on. Great to see.
Yeah, definitely the GTR being a bit of a favourite right now for those who want a sort of power car. As we see Jamie Comboy as well up to P10. I think he started a little bit further back than that, so he's made a few positions on this opening lap with the Porsche of Harry Murphy behind him. There's more Porsches in front, but I don't. There they are. The two Porsches of Yao and Spenceley as Lele crosses the line on the first lap to set that purple time, obviously, as he's extended a bit of a gap out front up to 1 second. Saxon Hayes here just looking, potentially trying to be a bit of a nuisance in the mirror of Luke Johnson as they head into T1. Saxon's going to have a fairly hard time coming through turn 1 behind this, coming through sector 1 behind this McLaren though.
I think it's probably the biggest noteworthy driving skill that a lot of these pro guys that I've noticed since coming out from academy is just how comfortable they are to sit behind the lead car and really trust them that they're going to do, some normal race driver things. So Saxon trying to be right underneath that rear wing as close as you can, but you can just see that McLaren just drives away, over a second probably gap between that GTR and McLaren right now. So that's the power and the weakness of the GTR. He just goes a little bit wide, and Rondinella going to be right up underneath that GTR, but I think he's going to be pretty safe down this long straight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Rondinella and Hayes always seem to be glued to each other pretty much everywhere we go. They're always quite close. This is Blake Griffiths and Lucas Keys heading into turn 1. Oh, does Blake outbrake? Oh, yeah, she does. Just tags the Porsche, maybe put off a little bit by Lucas, who's maybe scared her a little bit into going a bit deep. But yeah.
Yeah, I also think maybe that Porsche backed up just a tad as well, because seeing how close that big train was in front of her as well. So it might have been interesting to see if we had a bit of an onboard, if that Porsche kind of maybe broke a little early and caught Blake out just by surprise too. So a little bit unlucky there. Blake's probably going to get a bit of a slap on the wrist coming in the coming laps as well.
Yeah, Lucas up to P19. I'm not exactly sure where he started, but as usual, like I said, just keep an eye out for him coming through the field, because he will probably come through fairly quickly.
Mate, I was talking to Lucas last night, and he was very disappointed with himself, being the first race he's had in a long time actually getting a penalty at Suzuka last week. So he felt it wasn't much of his own undoing. Just everyone kind of stopped very suddenly, and he was coming in very quick into turn 1 and got himself a penalty. So he was quite disappointed with himself last night, or talking to him. So I think he'll be trying to keep it a little bit cleaner tonight and get through the field as cleanly and quickly as possible as well.
Yeah, definitely. So this lead train, apart from Lele and Vintino's kind of got some gap. It's pretty close between Johnson, Hayes, Rondinella and Boscovis. Obviously the 3 McLarens and the GTR. The GTR struggling through Sector 1 as we saw before, just can't quite hold on to the back of the McLaren as he would need to make a move down the straight. But as the race wears on, obviously you can have some more mistakes creep in, or maybe you've got a few warnings, you don't want to take any more risks. We'll see if that GTR can close up to the back. I
was going to say, I just want to pick your brain as well. Is there some things that these drivers can do to kind of look after their tyres a little bit better, to have a bit better race pace as this race goes on? Or all these guys just going, 45 minutes doesn't really matter, I'm just going to push as hard as I can?
Oh, look, I'll just postpone that thought real quick, because we've got JC just driving around the Porsche of Wesley.
Stang things, yep. Stang things around the outside.
Yeah, he's going to make it stick kind of, but Yao's going to have a much better line going out the corner, but that GTR has enough drive to just stay in front. So Comboy already up with his pro brethren. But to quickly jump back to your question, I mean, I have definitely worn out my tyres in these attempts in half an hour before, just driving like an absolute max. So you definitely can, if you're scrubbing quite a lot, wear them out, and you will start to feel them, especially on tracks that are more tyre heavy, kind of like this one. So just avoid scrubbing, avoid sliding too much, make sure your brake ducts are open so your tyres can cool down a little bit more on the straight. And Rondinella, I just noticed quite under attack by Stan Scotus a little bit further back. Stan's going to have a look. There's Luke Johnson, oh my gosh, that's quite late braking there. Looked like he was going to end end up in the bumper of Ben Vintner for a second there.
I think you got caught. I looked at the first come up there in the second lap, and I think there's 3 or 4 lines on what these guys are taking. So we might be able to get a bit of an overview shot at turn 1, Mr. Hignett, coming up in the coming laps if we can do that, because looking at a lot of the different lines, some are diving into turn 1 and keep taking a really narrow entry and kind of stopping it on the corner, and some other people are actually taking the wider line and trying to carry a bit more corner speed. So it was just really, I was taken aback as well. I thought someone was about to crash on the first lap as well. But I think that's just Luke Johnson's line coming into turn 1. So I've seen him do it 2 or 3 times in a row now. So let's just keep an eye out on that, because it's definitely something that I'm going to be trying before tomorrow night as well, because it seems to be a bit of an issue with that. I get quite slippery through turn 1, so it might be something I need to try. But Buskovas there, as you said, does he do a bit of a dive down the inside on Rondinella? Late break with Rondinella, so can he get it stopped? Yeah, I think it's just great defensive driving right there with the 2 McLaren drivers not being able to really escape from each other, because both cars have got the same same strengths and weaknesses of each other. So
yeah, Stan's been around for a while. He knows what he's doing. He's a fairly clean driver. Wow, this is quite congested in here. Is that Luke Johnson?
No.
Oh, is that just another customer? Okay. Oh, is it Bill? Oh, there's no McLaren. Oh, it must be Biller, I guess. But yeah, Stan's a pretty clean driver. I think he understands what he's doing. Is this mid-pack sort of battle? I think we're looking at P13, Ben Piper in the Audi here is pretty congested. We can see the track is pretty full, and Lucas Keys is right there for company.
There you go. Yeah, so Lele narrow, Brett narrow. There's just a few, like, Vintner open up the corner a little bit, right? So just like the differing lines kind of kept throwing me off early on, as the Audi just goes at the inside, does way too deep. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh,
that could have ended a lot worse.
Did Keys bump the thing as well? Like, just, he might have just been a victim of circumstance there as well, or just trying to avoid an accident. So I don't think there was much harm or foul there. So, but yeah, that's what I was talking about. Just those slightly different lines where some of those drivers seem to just point it at the corner and get around a little bit easier.
That Audi looks pretty wild from what we're seeing right now. I'm seeing it leave 11s basically everywhere it's going.
I don't think it was going to have a chance to stop at turn 1 though.
Yeah. I think Lucas maybe just caught out by that Audi having a bit of a moment as he elects to wait to the straight, which is a fair enough choice, I guess, considering he is in the GTR. All he has to do is put his foot down, as Saxon Hayes now has a move on Luke Johnson. Luke Johnson not defending it too hard. You can hang around the outside and hold the inside for the next corner, but I think Johnson's just going to give that one up. Maybe going to try use Saxon to get onto the back of the car in front, as Ben Piper's going to go for a move on that McLaren. Lucas is going to try follow him through, which he does. McLaren is going to give it up. I reckon he knows he's fairly done. Drives it in hot, but no contact made as we get to witness this absolutely terrible looking car of the GTR. With that
there was a couple of
livery.
There was a couple of mentions in the YouTube chat of Lucas Key's livery just looking absolutely filthy. So yeah, it's something that we might be able to just skip over. Is that a Lexus logo?
Yes. I believe he probably wants the Lexus to be back so he can drive it, because it's pretty close to the GTR, and I believe he has driven it in the past. He throws it up the inside of Piper into the final corner of turn 20. And now he only has 3 cars between him and the pro drivers, as Jamie Comboy is now right on the back of Buskovas. So Rondinella possibly just being a little bit of a roadblock here, as he has got a 3.5 second gap to the car in front, and that's allowing JC to catch up to the back and start applying pressure to Buskovas. Let's see how JC navigates this sector 1. Oh, that's a big slide. It's a bit out of shape. He's going to lose quite a bit of ground through there. Possibly just the dirty air or the handling characteristics of the boat that is the GTR. But yeah.
This is what I was thinking before, with just how this race pace develops over the next kind of 15 minutes, because looking at all all the stuff we've been watching the first kind of 10 minutes, we haven't seen too many McLaren or Porsche or Ferrari overtakes. All we've seen is kind of the Mustangs and the GTRs of the world actually come through. So, maybe these Ferraris and McLarens are really fast in one lap pace and using their tyres really hard, and maybe their race pace isn't as strong. So there'd be something to watch over the next 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, definitely. As Buscovas has a look, it's tight on the exit there. Buscovas squeezes JC off onto those ripple sort of curb things on the outside. This fight is getting a lot more heated now. As like you were saying, Cameron Thistleway also saying in the YouTube chat that he doesn't believe the McLaren of Lele is going to hold onto its tyres against Britt in the Ferrari, which I think is definitely plausible. It is possible that the McLaren will burn up its tyres and Britt will definitely have an advantage towards the end, but at the same time, it's hard to know for absolute certain. As JC gets a much better run, he's now fully in the mirrors of Stan Buscovas, possibly going to be able to go for a move on this straight if he gets a decent drive. Just watch this GTR once it hits third gear just start to pull on this McLaren. It's already pulling up to him. Stan Buscovas is going to start moving over to defend, but he doesn't move over completely. Buscovas is going to keep the wheels straight. There's a little bit of contact on the way in. Buscovas is going to try to get the up and under, but JC blocks the exit on that exit curb, and Buscovas has to settle in behind. I wonder if he's going to try to follow Jamie Comboy past Rondinella in front, which is possibly a decent strat considering he was also stuck behind Rondinella for quite a bit.
Stan, that wasn't very gentlemanly-like, was it? That was some contact under the brake. Did we just have? No, I think it was just a minor glitch there.
I think JC is having some slight internet issues, and whenever you disappear, it just sends the camera back to the pit lane. I think that's what we saw just then.
I think it's still all okay, because on the timing screens, yes, we've still got Comboy and Buscovas still around together. So, there was kind of bumping and barging under braking zone there, like Stan getting the elbows out. I kind of like that. Yeah,
Comboy is flying right now. He started quite a bit further back, so he's either put in some massive practice for this one, or he's just got some awesome pace, because he's definitely not messing around as he looks for a move on Rondinella, but just can't quite get past him in the braking zone. That's a lunge and a half there from JC into turn 16, I believe. Rondinella's might give this one up, or he's going to challenge him coming into the braking zone. That's a tough move. There's a tiny bit of contact on the apex. They managed to keep it straight somehow. Now they're going to run side by side through this long triple right-hander, but I think JC's just got the car in front. Rondinella's not giving this up, though. He's sticking the nose down the outside, although he's going to run out of space pretty quickly if he tries to go around the outside here, and JC just manages to stay in front.
Another switchback.
Yeah, he's coming for the switchback. He can brake pretty late here as he has the inside, but just tucks up in behind, and now Buscovas is going to have a decent run on Rondinella here into turn 1. JC just really putting the foot down, kind of leaving these guys in the dust, as Buscovas now comes for his turn against Rondinella. They're going to run side by side into this uphill left-hander of T1. Buscovas, I think, just got a little bit better drive, but they will likely be side by side coming into this fast sweeping section, although I think Buscovas has just edged ahead. Wow, that was a pretty good battle for half a lap there.
Mate, have a drink, Aiden. That was unbelievably cold. I'll have an absolute big swig of water, because that went on for almost half a lap. That started all the way over at the back straight when the entirety of the last sector, and finally, out of all of that, Jaden Rondinella loses 2 spots and comes out licking some wounds. So and that was absolutely awesome to listen to and ride along with you, mate, because that was an awesome call. As we see Lucas Keys trying to get past Wesley Yao as well, but you'll just wait for the nice long straight and just use all that horsepower that the Lexus GTR has on board for tonight. But mate, as you just said, Jamie Comboy just driving forward. I think he might have started 12th or 13th. Someone might be able to help us out with that. But the gap to the next little gap is the next little pack is quite a large one. So over almost 6 seconds there at 5.8 seconds. So a lot of hard work to do, but 28 minutes to do it. So I know if anyone's going to be trying, it's Mr. Convoy. He's feeling good at the moment in the GTR, so see if he can keep driving himself closer to the front. But actually, looking at the front gap, it seemed to have steadied between Paul Britt and Lele at the moment. It's actually come down a little bit from 2.8 back down to 2.5 seconds. So let's just have a look at the next 2 or 3 laps and see if that time continues to kick down. He has another 3/10 out of that. So maybe that crossover point has kind of come upon us, and that Ferrari is going to start eating back into the lead of the McLaren. So as well as Benny V kind of edged away from Saxon Hayes as well. So with these really high track temperatures, 36 degrees today, some of these cars are really hurting, and still with such a long time to go, 2/3 of the race to go.
Yeah. You said Rondinella might be licking his wounds there, but to be honest, I reckon he would have enjoyed that battle. He's pretty good friends with JC, and I reckon they were probably in the voice chat talking to each other, or egging each other on, going for some pretty big lunges. So I reckon everyone here enjoys some good clean racing, as they just gave us right there. So
I haven't done the Sprint Series in a couple of weeks. Are we still doing the thermal overtake? Because if that's not a unanimous winner, then we've got to get some highlight packages together, because that was some awesome racing.
Yeah, I think that'll be a pretty good submission for the Thermaltake overtake of the week. So remember to submit your clips, everyone, to show off your overtaking prowess from your sprint races this season. But we're looking back on board with Wesley Yao, who has Harry Murphy for quite close company, doing well, leading the Pro-Am field at the moment. Just closing up to the back of Wesley under brakes, but Murphy's not been around for too long, so he's doing pretty good job taking it kind of to the silvers, and almost in the top 10 right now. It's Lucas now right on the back of Rondinella and Muscovas, so their fighting has helped Lucas quite a bit close up to the back of them.
I have a feeling these two have the same setup on board, because they just keep finding each other. I thought, as you said before, maybe Muscovas was just slightly faster than Lupti, but Jaden's kind of settled himself back down again after a big battle with JC there, and found himself back on the rear bumper of Muscovas. So I think Lucas is going to obviously try and dispatch these two McLarens as quickly as possible, but these two just keep having a great battle the entire race so far.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I don't see a move here from Lucas. Yep, he pulls out quite late, has a look, but doesn't end up committing to it. As they do get off turn 1 quite cleanly, but Lucas is right there on Jaden's rear bumper. However, I reckon he's going to have to wait, obviously, until the main straight, or the turn before to get this move done, as we might see the GTR just struggle a little bit on the back of this McLaren through this sector 1, although Lucas has probably got that thing set up like a shopping trolley, so probably turns like crazy. Just a little bit of a handful to actually keep in a straight line, as he does maintain a fairly close gap, so we might see a move coming into turn 11 here. Yep, he pulls out. Oh, he's not committing to it again, so I think he's just waiting for the slam dunk opportunity, which we'll probably see as we get a replay here of 2 Ferraris. This is going to be some
That's the 224 of Will Bowden.
Or Ferrari on Ferrari violence.
It's just a little lazy one. It's just a little lazy one. They were kind of stuck on each other as well, so I wonder if there was a bit of a reversey to get some cars cleared. But Lucas Keys just using the GTR power, and Loopty just so late under brakes. Somehow comes back alongside, but just no opportunity to hang it around the outside there of Lucas, because I think the move was pretty much done a long way before the braking zone. But I can't believe how late he was. I think that's what allowed him to stay alongside JC as well into that overtaking battle as we had before.
I think that's just the McLaren brakes being pretty awful. Just gives the illusion of him staying alongside.
It just doesn't stop fast enough.
Paul Britt now falling back a little bit off the back of Lele, which as we said before, not really expected, to be honest. As Ben Vinton are now starting to get into that sort of danger zone of 4/10 or less, which will put Britt under quite a bit of pressure on the straights, especially considering that Aston is no slouch on the straights. It's no Mustang, but it's definitely no slouch, especially in a slipstream. So Britty will be fairly vulnerable here if he doesn't kind of pull his pants up and get away through this first sector, as we see him nicely, smoothly put that Ferrari through the first sector here. Oh, there's a bit of drifting going on from that Ferrari, which I'm pretty sure is fairly difficult to do. So he's definitely pushing that car quite hard to try and build a gap. But Ben Vintona's smooth sort of Aston driving has made it so that Paul Britt hasn't really been able to escape from that slipstream, and he will possibly be under attack here from Ben Vintona going down the straight. As they both get a good run off the corner, however, Vintona will be firmly in the slipstream heading down this very long back straight. You could almost make a cup of tea down this one, as he's going to mount his attack fairly soon. Maybe he's going to pull out and fake a little move here as they get to the braking zone. No, Ben Vintona, a quite experienced driver. He doesn't make too many mistakes, as Lucas Keys now just drives around past Stan Buskovas, and this has helped Buskovas quite a bit because now Rondinella, who he was battling before, has dropped back quite significantly after his little half battle with Lucas.
Hey, the Mr. Smooth, I think that's going to be Mr. Benny V's new nickname, if he can tire whisper his way through to at least a P2. But yeah, putting more and more pressure onto Paul Britt here. That the ebbs and flows of this race. I think that's what I was mentioning before. I don't think this is going to be an all-out pace race. You've got to look after your car. You've got to make sure the tyres can last a full 45 minutes, because I'm not sure many of these guys have done 45 minutes with the track temperature as high as this. But something also to look out for is Mr. Conboy's gap down to Johnson's back down to just over 4 seconds now. So it's taken just over a second and a half out of the McLaren of Johnson, so in about 7 minutes. So that's looking like that could close up quite close to the end, and whether or not Jamie might work with Lucas Keys, who's behind him now also. So those two Nissan boys who might be working together to try and get up closer and further up the field to the top 5 too.
Yeah, definitely there'll be something to look at coming into the closing stages of this race. And Harry Murphy definitely not giving up here. He's got a massive gap to Darrell Lim behind him of almost 4 seconds, as we see them just enter the back of the shot there. But yeah, definitely not taking the pressure off Wesley Yao, who is obviously a class above him in silver. So with the amount of pros in this lobby and the kind of driving caliber of this lobby, that's very well done to Harry Murphy there for bringing his little Porsche up to P11.
Hey, it's a huge drive for the night. The Pro-Am, that's going to be maybe Pro-Am drive of the night so far. Let's not try not to commentate it, because it's Benny Vintona just hard on the brakes, trying not to get any closer there. I was going to see if he actually pulls out, but didn't even show the nose. So just happy to sit behind Paul at the moment and just see if he can slightly make a mistake. But Britty's just such a class trapping anytime soon.
Yeah. Vintona not being too aggressive. Maybe he's just trying to force Britty into overdriving the car and wearing his tyres out a little bit, as the Aston is pretty good in that field, as well as the Ferrari. So I'm a bit surprised that Britt hasn't been able to close a little bit to Lele, as Lele's just basically left. I mean, 3 seconds in this sort of pack is quite a lot for these drivers. So well done to Lele. Obviously they've done quite a bit of practice for this race, and they've arrived quite prepared. As Vintona again just not quite close enough to put on a move into turn 1, and that Ferrari seems to be pretty good out of turn 1. But if he can just maintain this gap or get closer a little bit before the straight, he could have another opportunity. But he is going to need to be decisive if he does go for a move. I think Paul Britt is not going to really fall for any fakes, and I think it's going to be, he could make a mistake, but someone of Paul Britt's experience, I think, is going to be a little bit of a harder nut to crack.
Yeah, I think the mistake's only really going to come from, poor car grip more than a mistake from Britty himself. So I think you've hit the nail on the head that he's just trying to get Benny is just trying to get Paul Britt to keep overdriving that car and drive it as hard as it can, so he can keep trying to stay in P2, and hopefully, sooner or later that the tyres either give way and he can't keep the pace up, so the overtake actually becomes a lot easier and a lot more decisive, as you said. But I think here we go. Jamie Conboy letting Lucas Keys past. Yep. Oh, maybe not.
Oh,
just
no.
crisscross applesauce. He's not getting that stopped. Oh no, he's just brain punted himself. JC.
Not really sure what the plan was there, to be honest. But anyway,
we'll blame the marbles on the left-hand side of the track going down the main straight for that one. Yeah, he just got too many marbles on the tyres and it didn't clear off before the braking zone. So the tyres weren't gripping under brakes as good as they should have. So we'll put it to that one rather than letting anyone pass.
Racing driver excuses.
Yeah, always, every single day. Yeah, it's never ever the driver's fault. It's always the car's fault. Yeah,
of course.
We crash and we spin and we cause thousands of dollars of damage. It is never the driver's fault. Yeah, the gasket in the middle.
Yeah, Ben Vinton are just still struggling a little bit to really get within the move sort of range. As we got the two Audis here. Going through Sector 1, I have a feeling what I'm about to witness, I already know. Yep, Audi things. Yep, just Audi things again.
Done very well to keep that out of the wall, by the way. That wall was coming up at a rate of knots and somehow kept it out of that left-hand side wall. So the race continues with the Audi, at least at this stage.
I think he had full right lock and some brown pants after that one. That's how he managed to escape. It's Jaden Rondinella. Oh wait, Harry Murphy's in front of Wesley Yao now by 2 seconds, so might have to have a look at what's happened there. And Jaden Rondinella now under threat from the Pro-Am driver. Not really something I expected to see, but Harry Murphy definitely not hanging around here. He's definitely getting a move on, and maybe Rondinella just slightly falling off now as they don't quite have the tyre grip available that has been obviously keeping those cars together for the race so far. As we get a replay here, I believe this is how Murphy got past Wesley Yao going into the big braking zone of turn 12, and Murphy just says thank you very much, drives up the inside.
Yeah, Wesley was hard on the anchors there, trying to go as deep as possible and just couldn't get the car turned to really stay around the outside and succumb to the orange sausage curbs on the outside there. So great move by Murphy, I think, showing some unreal pace. Yes, probably some cars struggling around him. Like we can all see Loop D struggling with the ability to get the power down and not having much grip, but you still got to put your money where your mouth is, and Murphy's doing an absolute fantastic job. 2/3 of the way through the race here, and the last third's kind of where the money making is, and he's coming to the forefront. So he's having an absolute incredible race tonight too.
Yeah, definitely. As we've still got a fairly big train here of Billet, Piper, and Bryce Davies, I think, on the back.
I think it's all the way back to Jensen actually, with the Nissan as well. So. There's some. We've seen some moments with a few of these drivers tonight already, with a couple of Audi moments and a couple of McLaren moments here. So these guys are having a great scrap all night.
Yeah, obviously we like to see some good, close, clean racing as Billet is I think defending from the Audi behind him of Ben Piper. That's a Ferrari in deep in behind, just drives it a little bit wide, and now the Jensen, I think, in that GTR is able to sneak up the inside on the exit. Will he get clear by the time they reach the next corner? It's going to be very close, and he does. So Zach Jensen taking that position. That GTR just does not look happy through those corners. It just looks so soft and just
does not. Like, I reckon these guys all have the YouTube up because all of a sudden they've just lit the fuse and they're all throwing haymakers in and around everyone at the moment. So. Jensen taking advantage of the Ferrari, and everyone else trying to stay out of each other's way, it seems, because there's a lot of squirming cars through the S's just then.
Yeah, definitely. Billet just takes an alternate line. So yeah, as you were saying, there's quite a few alternate lines we can see kind of in effect, and this is going to be a very long slipstream train down the straight, although Billet doesn't quite look like he's taking full advantage of the toe, whereas that Audi behind is. Here comes Ben Piper for attempt number 2 on the McLaren, but he's going to break it a little bit early, hold position. Jensen's going to try something around the outside, but it's pretty much impossible to pull off there. As now there's a 5th car as well, so Bryce Davies is back in the game here on the back of this group. This is a big gaggle of cars.
Mate, we've got YouTube chat rolling in with a bit of drive-through watch. We've currently got 2 cars. Marshy with a DT first limits, track limits for the first of the week, and we've got King as our second contestant in drive-through of the week. So we're currently at 2 with 13 minutes to go. I think these DTs might start racking up thick and fast with our cars now, maybe not handling as good as they were 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, 100%. And I've just looked up the bot for the Porsche, and it is running an additional 24 kilos here, so that definitely makes a difference, and Murphy will be feeling that, but well done to him.
Mate, lead Porsche as well, not just
there's been contact. I think that was
spinning in the front. We might have to get a bit of a replay that coming up.
Continuing with that. Brian Kong just I think misjudging the space there between those 2 cars and having a little bit of door banging. He's obviously got that 15-second penalty. A bit of a concertina there. I think the front Audi got turned and everyone just had to brake, and when you have a bunch of cars like that and everyone just slams the brakes, there's always going to be...
We had a car 90 degrees to each other at turn 1, and all of a sudden they're still just all lined back up again. This is looking close. But somehow this train just keeps on chugging down the road, and they're still all right next to each other. This is great racing. Up the inside for Piper into the Audi, coming into the final.
Oh, that's a big move from Bryce Davies, although he's... wow, there's more stuff happening up ahead. I think there's... we're maybe going to need a replay of whatever just happened, but there was...
Jensen's going to come out looking like a pro in this.
Yes, I think he might have a thermal overtake submission for this week.
Piper going to send it up the inside again for the 3rd time in a lap. This time keeps it under control, and Jensen around the outside into the double right. I think this move's pretty much done and dusted if Jensen can get a clean move. Piper hanging there, but yeah, just not enough drive through there. So Jensen, I thought Piper was going to send it up the inside again there, but
wow, it's close.
Jensen's off and running. Let's see how Jensen can lead the train, because this 6 or 7 car battle is spicy.
Yeah, those kind of, this group with Kong and Billet and stuff were pretty much bumping each other through turn 16 there. They were so close to each other there. So it's a pretty good battle. I think there's like 7 or 8 cars or maybe more in this. As that's it up the inside, Bryce Davies in that Ferrari going for some pretty big moves. It's quite aggressive, just trying to consolidate his position, and I think maybe he probably thinks he's a bit quicker than this gaggle of cars, and is just trying to get through the traffic before he falls victim to the next person coming in behind, as the Audi goes very wide through turn 1. And now Billet maybe, no, he's not going to have a run here, but yeah, this is just all over the place.
I think everyone went into that first turn a little more gingerly this time, because there was still a lot of cars going all over the place, but there was a lot less contact this time around. But I reckon the next one is back on again, lads, so get stuck in. We're staying on board with this train because it's providing some unbelievable racing at the moment. So what do we have here? This is on board. Do we have the Audi spinning in front? It's what it is. It's just nowhere.
It's just Audi things. And there was definitely something else. Sorry, but there was definitely something else that happened. Oh, that's contact as well. Into that exact corner. I was going to say, last lap, something happened into there as well that we didn't see, because there was cars all over the place. But
that was live. Sorry, I thought, was that live again?
No, that was live. So this is a replay of what happened on the previous lap. So, okay, so Billet gets turned by Piper, and then Jensen's just able to just drive through. He's driven through like the seas are parting, like he's Moses. But then, yeah, we cut back, and then there was, again, another crash at that exact corner, which we just saw with Bryce Davies going for a fairly big punch on Billet, which I think we're about to watch again now.
I thought that was a replay, but it was live. So this is the replay of what we just watched again. So Oh my God, Ferrari out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was it. I think. Oh, the stewards
Spot
might give
himself.
that one a. The stewards might give that one a bit of a dangerous driving because that was
Yeah.
fairly
Yeah.
aggressive there, but it's providing entertainment, so
What do we got at front? British back down to 2.4 seconds again. So, mate, they're just having a bit of a deep ebb and flow battle. We thought Britty was losing pace, and now he's back on it again. And Vincent is still stuck behind Britty, but Lucas Keys here, back up to Saxon Hayes. So he's keeps climbing his way forward, but he's not going to have the GTR on GTR advantage unless he gets better drive out of this corner. So going to have to try and find a different place to pass is Mr. Lucas Keys here.
Yeah, interestingly, he didn't quite follow Keys past Johnson. So obviously Keys got past Johnson a few laps ago, but we were busy watching the midfield battle that was going on. So Convoy maybe just dropping off. I have a feeling he might be wearing his tyres out from how he's driving that GTR, because every time we look at him he's going sideways. But Paul Britt still being sniffed by Ben Vintner, but that gap is definitely coming down now to Lele, who's maybe started to cook his tyres. But obviously, as we've seen, this track isn't the easiest to overtake on. Especially following other cars, so whether Brit can actually manufacture an overtake, especially in a car like the Ferrari, is another story altogether. As Keys now right on the back of Saxon Hayes, coming into the final corner of turn 20.
His second favourite pass position, up into turn 1. So see if he can get a little bit better of a run out here, but still a car and a half gap there that's not quite close enough. So it's going to take a big deep dive up into the turn 1, but Saxon covering off very nicely there. So keeping the car nice and straight at the apex, driving off and using all that GTR horsepower. So Lucas is going to have to get a little bit creative here, because I think Saxon has just gone, you know what, I'm probably not going to catch the guys in front. If I just keep this nice little Japanese Porsche, Japanese police Nissan in the tracks, then it's going to be quite difficult for Lucas to pass. So we'll see how this develops over the next couple of laps.
Yeah, I mean, you say it'll be difficult to pass, but the person we are watching on board with right now is arguably not a human, as that's a bump draft, which I'm not exactly sure is particularly legal, but we'll continue. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but Lucas now probably going to have this move done unless Saxon defends it pretty hard, which doesn't look like he is. Lucas just giving Saxon a little love tap there, I think. He's going to get the side draft now and have this move fairly well done into the braking zone as he jumps up through. So that's, geez, where did Lucas start? I think he started further than 23rd, so that's at least...
Yeah, I was going to say like 31st or 33rd or something maybe.
Oh, geez. So, yeah, that's a lot of positions gained in 45 minutes, but I guess we wouldn't expect anything else from Lucas himself. And it looks like Paul Britt is not really going to be able to close up this gap to Lele, who's possibly just used up his tyres and just built a big enough gap to where Britt can't close it as we head into the final 5 minutes. And obviously with the lap being fairly long around here, that's only going to provide 3 more racing laps. And yeah, I think Lele's got this one fairly secured, as Britt as well is still under attack from Vintner, as the gap now goes up to 3 seconds. As Vintner goes down the inside at turn 1, this is going to be a big move if he can pull it off. They're closely side by side. The Ferrari's going to have a slightly better drive on the outside, and he does manage to hold that position. Turn 1, quite a difficult place to get past. It's like we just saw, if you hold the outside, you can carry a lot more speed due to the nature of the corner, and the Ferrari's pretty strong out of there with its great traction. So Vintner, I reckon, will have a better opportunity if he can close the gap and be a lot closer onto the long back straight, where he's going to have a lot more time to really pick up that speed and get further sort of past Britt as to compared to turn 1, where the run is not quite as long.
Mate, that was the first time I've actually seen Benny V actually go for an overtake. So good to see he's getting the elbows out and trying to get to that P2 position. So Yeah, that car and a half length gap, stuck at that 3/10 mark. It's probably not going to be close enough coming down this back straight unless he has a bit of a lunge coming into this braking zone. But he's kind of taking.
He's looking.
Here he goes.
He's going down the inside. This is going to be another close one, as the outside can carry more speed and will have the inside for the next corner. So I think Ben just has to really commit and try to not force his way through, but make it a lot more difficult for Britt to defend him as he sends it down the inside of turn 15. Oh, that's really close. They managed to avoid contact. So Vintner now all over the back of Britt, and look who that is in the background. Lucas Keys is on his way with 3 minutes to go, coming from pretty much all the way down the back of the field. Lucas is going to get involved in this battle, and I think Paul Britt's going to be looking at this in quite dismay as Ben Vintner pulls out for a possible move into the final corner. He's got a good run. They're going to run side by side through turn 20. They're going to run side by side down the main straight, and now it's a drag race between Aston and Ferrari. The Ferrari's just gotten ahead, but now the Aston starts to use its legs to start to pull back alongside into this uphill. And look at Lucas Keys. He's looking at this battle, licking his lips right now. He knows if he can just line up an exit here, he can potentially grab both of these positions, as Paul Britt manages to keep it just in front. Ben Vintner gets slightly pushed wide. Now Lucas Keys is right on the back. He's going to have to settle back down into position 4 just for now as they head through the tight twisty section of sector 1 here. But this battle is definitely going to continue for the last 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, I think the yellow GTR tried to light a bit of a fire under the rear end of Benny V there, so not able to get a move done. He was, probably just needed to let it run a little bit deeper, but Britty was just so good at trying to carry that corner speed, so never really gave him an opportunity to capitalise on any mistakes that Britty was trying to make. But again, not the greatest drive off the corner for Paul. So interested to see if at that 3/10, 4/10 mark again, is Benny Vintner going to try again, because this time I got Lucas Keys hunting down the Aston, and I think there might be a bit of a pass here. It's so close between 3 guys.
They're running 3 wide into the... Yeah, they're 3 wide into the sharp corner. That's going to be contact, big contact between Vintner and Paul Britt on the apex. Paul Britt does have the inside. He's a little bit further back. He's going to break deep, hold Vintner to the outside. There's more contact. There's now Lucas Keys up the inside of Vintner, but just not enough overlap. Lucas Keys there on the main straight had a big double toe from both the cars, so that GTR was really pulling, but the order stays the same. I think maybe the drivers might have something to say about the contact that was made, but that's going to go to the stewards, and that'll be their decision. As Vintner now still on the back of Paul Britt. We're going to have one... Oh, Britty's very wide there. Vintner might be able to sneak down the inside again in a pretty much copy of the final lap, going into the final corner of turn 20. Lucas Keys now down the inside as well. He's going to try sneak up, and this is probably going to be 3 wide going into turn 1. Again, this is some awesome racing provided by these 3 drivers. We're going to go 3 wide into one of the trickiest corners in American motorsport here. We're going to run 3 wide up the hill. It's going to be so tight. Lucas Keys on the inside, Ben Vintner on the middle, and Paul Britt on the outside. Vintner just sneaks through, getting that slightly better line where he's not too badly compromised. As now Lucas Keys and Paul Britt run side by side through this very tricky section. Lucas is quite wide, but just manages to keep that GTR under control. And here comes Paul Britt now. There's contact between both of them. Lucas almost loses the car. Britty is not giving up here. He's going to try sneak around the outside again, really maximising that capability of the Ferrari in this more tighter section. And here comes Saxon Hayes in the background as well. There's another GTR, and Paul Britt's looking at all this going, oh my gosh, how's this happen? I've gone from P2 now to P4, and I'm potentially going to be under attack from another Nissan down the straight.
Benny V tucked his tail and ran as fast as he could. As soon as there was a bit of contact between the Ford and the GTR, he's gone, you know what, I'm getting out of here, and pulled, 3 or 4/10 gap. But Saxon Hayes, can he use the GTR, and can he get this move overtake done to solidify himself in the top 5, going for a big dive? Can he get it stopped on the apex?
Oh, he's braking really late, but he's going to hold that outside to maintain the inside. There's a little bit of contact on the exit. He has the inside line for this tricky right-hander. Paul Britt brakes late. There's contact. Saxon straightens him up, but just a little bit too much. And Paul Britt gets knocked off the track, and now that's another position lost. I think Paul Britt is probably going to be calling his number for that, but I'm not sure if the stewards are going to take action, and now Lucas is right on the back of Ben Vintner into the final corners, but I think if Vintner just keeps his car on the track, he's going to be able to hold off Lucas Keys here into the final corners. But that was an awesome final lap. I really enjoyed calling that one, and I'm sure everyone at home really loved watching that too, as Ben Vintner comes across the line to take second, Lucas Keys third, Saxon Hayes P4, Paul Britt going from second to fifth in just a matter of laps, Jamie Comboy and Luke Johnson taking up P6 and 7 respectively, followed by Blaskovas, Rondinella, and Murphy has a 10-second penalty. Oh no, which is going to drop him only one position, but it's going to drop him out of the top 10. He's still going to maintain that Pro-Am win.
Yep.
But yeah, and as well, obviously, congratulations to Ishan Lele for taking a quite dominant win. That gap did stretch out a little bit more as there was that massive fight between those cars following him.
Mate, Lele, just absolute classy drive. I'm going to be texting him a little bit later to see if he can hook me up with a nice McLaren setup for tomorrow night. But, mate, that was an absolute classy drive. We thought that, he's burnt his tyres really early, but kept that nice solid pace and really only got outpaced by the likes of Lucas Keys. And maybe JB Comboy had some really good race pace as well. But, McLaren, back at the top. Let's go. I love seeing that. Benny Vintner, Mr. Smooth, Mr. Patient, finally got his opportunity in that last lap. And, 3 wide into the first turn on the last lap is definitely something we love looking and seeing. And a bit unlucky there for Britty. He kind of kept his car together and it all just fell apart with 2 laps to go. So, interesting to see if anything happens. I'd always like to see if we can just try and let the lads race, but we want to try and keep all the racing as smooth and as clean as possible. But mate, it was an absolute incredible race up and down the field. I'd love seeing that. The cars start off feeling really good, and then seeing how good those drivers can handle those tricky conditions late on.
Yeah, it reminded me of Bathurst a little bit with that awesome final lap and sort of nail-biting finish there with all those drivers. And I'm sure if anyone watched the Bathurst 1000, they would know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't watched it, please do, because it was an amazing race. But yeah, that's going to conclude the racing for Split Yellow tonight. Lele taking out the win, followed by Mr. Smooth, Ben Vintner in P2, like you said, managing to just keep his car together and sneak through at the end. Lucas Keys, massive drive. I'm not sure, could we see where Lucas qualified, Ben, quickly? Just so we can see how many positions. You might have to scroll down. Yeah, wow, so P28 up to P3 in the end, so 25 position gain. That is quite mad. Almost like Matt Payne, I think. Well, sorry, spoilers, but they came through to win with 19 or something positions gained. So,
mate, if you haven't watched if people haven't seen the Bathurst win now, it's not a spoiler alert, mate. It's almost been a week. So go for it.
Yeah.
Go the Fords.
Saxon Hayes as well, doing a good job in that GTR to take P4. Paul Britt, obviously, P5. Luke Johnson, Jamie Comboy, Stan Blaskovas, Rondinella, and Yao making up the top 10, heading over to silver. We have Yao taking out the silver win, followed by Piper and Lim. And Pro-Am, we're going to have Harry Murphy taking out that Pro-Am win in the Porsche, followed by Jensen and Billet. And then to Am, we have Brian taking out the win in the BMW, followed by James and Will Bowden.
An absolutely incredible night, incredible racing from all the drivers in Split Yellow. Was absolutely unbelievable. So, mate, can you give me other than the kind of obvious, give us the driver of the night for your Split Yellow, please?
Oh, it's going to have to be Vintner. I've raced with him quite a bit in Split Green. I think it's his normal home, but he's obviously shown that he's done his practice and he can race in multiple splits pretty well. So I'm going to have to give it to him for being patient and taking out that P2 in the end. How about you?
Being a Pro-Am driver myself, I'm going to be obviously a little bit more Pro-Am focused, but I'm going to give it to Murphy tonight. The speed, yep, cool, 10-second penalty at the end. A little blip, let's just put it to that. But, there was an awesome drive, almost in the top 10 outright was an awesome drive. So, yeah, definitely should be dancing at the club here that Mr. Benny Hignett has us at.
Yeah, definitely. So stick around for Split Green. We're going to have the same thing in a little bit here, as we've got the nice little rave going at COTA. Thanks, Ben, in the infield. Although, wait, how's it night? Isn't it day? Okay.
Different server.
Anyway. Oh, different server. Okay, right. That makes a bit more sense. But from me and Dave here in the box, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
could have the world to ourselves. Going to a place that's fine. Setting up the stars for love. Sweet again.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 2025 Octane Online Racing Sprint Season 23 for round 4 here at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. I'm Karen Fesselplate. I'm joined by Blake Griffiths. I've already nearly screwed up because I forgot I was doing the intro. But Blake, how's things going?
Look, that was the longest, 2 seconds of my life. I was like, Cam, we discussed this.
No one offers to take the intro, so I'm just used to not doing it.
I was like, Cam, I'm doing the race stuff. I'm very well, thanks, Cam. How are you?
I'm, as professional as ever. But we've come to expect that. But yeah, here we are for Split Green here at Circuit of the Americas, like I've already mentioned, here in Austin, Texas. Of course, we've got lovely Ben Hignett on the cams as well as we get on the way for qualifying here for Split Green. Noticeable absentee is that we are missing our series championship leader, Filippo Bakita, so there is actually a lot to play for on the cards right now.
Yeah, if you're anyone that's behind her, which I assume is everyone, there is maximum points to be gained here. So a few runners up the front I know are going to have to maximize their chances tonight. It's a very, very tricky track because we jump on board with Emerald Name. Is this Name's first race this season?
So.
Yeah, because Damiano here, Thurcolini, mentioned that Name was racing this week and he was excited and sad because it probably meant that he was going to get beaten by Name. But we shall see. It's still early doors here. But we are on board with Emerald Name right now in his 333 GTR. Bit of a beast around here. It's tricky to say the least, but I know the best can really make the most of it.
Yeah, we obviously come off the heels of Split Yellow, where we saw a lot of GTRs in Split Yellow, but a lot of them did very well. Not necessarily in qualifying. I think there was sort of around mid-pack with I think the highest one was Saxon Hayes in around the mid tens, but just went forward in the race, and we saw see Jamie Conboy and then the indomitable Lucas Keys as well, just absolutely mince up the field, especially with the power of the GTR. So it'll be interesting to see how Amaral Naim gets on. I'd say he's probably arguably the second quickest driver next to Lucas Keys, but he'll actually, I think, he'll be doing qualifying. I don't know, maybe he'll do a last person challenge as well. But right now he's out there doing laps and looks to be setting things up for his qualifying. And obviously, as I said, Filippo Bakita is obviously has marked out this week, obviously unavailable, maybe too busy from thrashing everyone at PAX Melbourne. And just a shout out to everyone from Octane as well who volunteered at PAX Melbourne as well. We do appreciate all the lovely people out there who helped run the Thermaltake stand.
Yeah, would have been lovely to be down there. I'm sure it was a lot of fun, but yeah, big shout out to everyone. There is someone in the chat that might be Pip, but I don't recognize the username.
Yeah, that's
saying that is Pip. Okay, Pip saying that she's sick from PAX, which is likely to happen when you have a bunch of people inside. So that's rough.
Video game people.
Yeah, how many of those people wash their hands? Not enough. It doesn't matter how many, it's not enough. But anyway,
not enough Links Africa can save you from the video game people.
Yeah, but get well soon, Pip. But for now, we are a couple minutes into qualifying. This should be our first laps. Mags is going to be our benchmark setter here. Mags, pretty good run of form in the Ferrari, the number 86, I believe. Is this the Kmart Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, lovely livery. Bit of a throwback to Bathurst, just on the back of the tongue recently, so it's fresh in the mind. But one more corner to navigate here for Mags. Name right behind, so this will be interesting to see what these guys put down thus far. Name immediately pipping Mags with a 2:05.2. Babby actually slotting in there too. Mags, it's not the best time for Mags actually, but it is obviously it is just the benchmark. We do see nice Penrite livery, a bit as I said, Bathurst on the back of the tongue. After Campaign is a basketball player, Matt Payne's Bathurst win. Very, very nice, tidy livery there.
Yeah, it's very fetching as well on the Mustang of all cars as well, which obviously Matt Payne drove to victory as well. I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty good Bathurst 1000. I'm not the closest supercars watcher, but I tune in for the 1000, and unlike, to be honest, most 1000s, this one actually held my attention. Not being harsh, but sometimes I drift off a little bit in them.
Yeah, I think last year was like the first year I watched, and it was like alright, but it was a little, it was a little underwhelming. This one was fantastic, but we're not here to talk about supercars. Here to talk about simulation GT3s. Damiano here, going to be setting his first lap in his beautiful, consistent liveried. Is this still the Relax More car? Is that what he still calls it?
I wouldn't know it's for sure, to be honest. But yeah, he's run that for a long time.
Yeah, it is lovely. It is consistent, and it is going to be P4 for Damiano. It is about a second off the pace of April Name, so we'll see if he has a little bit more in the bag. I would suggest so, seeing that Giacomin and Babby are about half a second off of Admiral Name's time as well. Damiano definitely, in amongst that sort of crowd, so we'll see what he can put together. We are jumping on board with John Hislop here, Ciuffatelli. Half a second up right now. This is going to be big gains. That's going to put him just outside the podium if he maintains this, but there's still a couple of corners to go, especially this last sort of set of 3 corners, question mark. On a car like the Ferrari with a lot of downforce, it's going to feel pretty good, and the tyres nice and in the window. Do see he's making that up and then losing it a little bit, just maybe a little bit too much speed carried in that second to last corner. It is still going to be about 5 to 6 tenths up. Ugh, even a little bit more just off the final corner. That does put John Hislop into P4, but not as close as he would have liked.
Yeah, good luck.
Air temp, Samo, not sure, but in the yellow race it was about 38 to 40 degrees. Yeah, 37. So that's track, sorry. 29. I just raced, so
yeah, that's fine.
It's just scorcher out here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, might ask Mr. Hignett if he could let us know what the temperature is. I'm curious to know things. I think it was 25 ambient is what the server is set to. But when he gets a chance, we love it. There we go, 29 ambient, 37. So pretty toasty out there. A pretty normal Australian summer race, to be honest. If anything, warm races are kind of good because we don't do them too much. Everything. Yes. What?
Where do you think Austin, Texas is?
I mean, I don't know. Circuit of Americas?
Why did you say a normal Australian summer race?
Well, it's kind of temp we would have, to be honest. We're kind of I feel like most of the races we're always just having the most mild. We never do hot races, so it's pretty normal for us. Yeah, it can be cold in Texas.
Yeah, but I think Texas is pretty renowned for being bloody hot.
How do you know? Have you been there?
Oi! Cameron, come on. The world's...
Fact check me.
The whole world's knowledge is at your fingertips.
The world is a myth.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, Jacob Maggs just improved. I think that was about 6 tenths. I'm going to move right along from that. Currently, P6 is jumping back down the order, or back up the order, further down the track with Damiano here coming into the second hairpin. He's pretty consistent right now, but he's going to want to try and find a little bit more, even just a handful of hundreds to get himself above Bub now.
Yeah, Damiano was probably, maybe a little happy to see that Filippo wasn't around, so he could, maybe bet his chances. But unfortunately, as well as Naeem, who's showing up for their first race, Glory Babby has decided to show up for their first race as well so far this season. So, yeah, good luck. Not to say Damiano is not pretty speedy, but those are two pretty fierce competitors as well, and we've seen the GTR go pretty well from split yellow. Ford Mustang, a bit harder to say. It was a pretty quick round here, but who knows what it is like. I know it's got restrictor and everything. It's definitely fallen off the cliff a little bit, but I will say, we touched on it. Admiral 9, he is out there absolutely dominating as well. His first lap was already quicker than Pole from split yellow, and Lele's 2:05.435. He's already done at least a 2:05.2. Not too sure what he's gotten to now. Still 2:05.2, so the first lap has been still his quickest. We'll see if he can improve any further for the 333 Nissan.
So you do just see Damiano cashing in those tenths that he had. He does put himself above Bub now, but still finds himself just behind Giacomin, and Babby, really. That's very, very close together. Babby and Giacomin, we didn't even notice with the exact same time. Literally never happens. Literally never happens. So if Damiano can find a little bit more improvement, he could find himself P2. But for now, Name is up on that first benchmark time. Interestingly, that he's not been able to capitalize just yet. We'll see if he can bank this one. Got a little... No, that's a big enough gap. He'll be all right.
Yeah, I think it should be okay. I think there is Luke Marvel in the BMW in the sort of purple and Dago colors. Might feel maybe, I'm not too sure, it might be far enough back. I know if you're going to feel a little bit of dirt, yeah, this is the corner to feel it, because it's pretty horrible regardless. And it looks like he gets through, maintains his 2:10 advantage into the penultimate corner. Easy to run wide here. The IndyCar drivers love to run wide and they're not penalised for it. But we are in the sim. Same again for the last corner. Still holding, extending to 3/10, and he's going to go all the way to a 2:05.2027. So close to a 4, and that's bloody quick from Mr. Amaral Naim.
Yeah, huge time, especially in these temperatures. Kicked off the boots. He's about half a second up from all the competition, so very well done there from Amaral Naim.
So going well so far. Just a note on the championship, Filippo Bakita and still leading with 319 points, 53 over Jacob Maggs. Things might change a little bit though. As following out, Damiano Focalini, 1/10 in his pocket, bleeding a little bit, but gaining again on the apex. See how it comes to the exit, still holding about 1/10. It might be enough to get him ahead of Babby. No, it doesn't. The delta lies, and he goes up to, maintains B4 and doesn't improve any further, but very, very close. Let's see now, Luca Giacomin, one of the last few people still on the lap. So he goes now into turn 11. Awkward as very acute corner. Maybe a little bit wider apex, kind of, yeah, he scrubbed a lot of speed off. I think it was a little bit hot in, didn't get the car necessarily stopped, trying to maintain the speed, but just ran out wide on the exit and killed his momentum, and it's really going to be punishing him all down that straight. John Rudd now in the orange McLaren, 3/10 in hand. Coming to the last corner now, the McLarens, we've seen some pretty speedy McLarens in split yellow. Let's see how they go in split green. We'll see one, big slide on the exit. The McLaren turbos kicked in a bit too much, and it's unfortunately going to lose his advantage. I think he did improve, but he definitely not by the 2 or 3/10 he had in hand.
Yeah, it's jumping back down with David Barker, another one of those guys that's been challenging the top. He is going to be our last person to finish here. Currently 2/10 up. I think unless he's just not a track of his or hasn't been practicing, we should see a bit of improvement from Barker. He's definitely got a bit more pace than this.
It's pretty cut and dry up there in the thing. We've got Jack Miller and Rob Underwood, 2 silvers, 2 very quick silvers. So close between those two for silver honours. They're leading the top 2 in the silver sector of this championship as well. But David Barker, 3/10 in hand for the Ferrari. See how he goes. Last got penultimate corner again. And I'm guessing he may be invalidated and not continuing on. Not too sure. We've lost our delta, but see if anything changes. I'm not too sure. I think that might be session over. And it's good to see Sean Bubnell there as well in silver. I apologise. The actual silver leader for this race, for this grid in the P5. Noski de Pro.
David Barker that was actually valid. He jumped up a few spots there. Finds himself now in P7 after being, I think it was about P10. So brought it over the line. It looks like the bloody Ferrari Cup at the top here, Cameron.
Yeah, we've got quite a few very quick Ferraris in this split. Very consistent guys as well, with Max, Hislop, to name a few. Been there since the start, but it looks like it is going to be Amaral Naim, followed by Luca Giacomin, and I believe that is Glory Babby in the Penrite Mustang, followed by Damiano Fercolini. And it looks like Noski's, I'm guessing that's Noski in the purple Ferrari. It's kind of new colours, I think. I'm not sure if this is his first race this season as well. I think I saw him before, but he's obviously clearly missed a few. And then obviously the Kmart Ferrari as well there of Mags, followed by Barker, Hislop, and not too sure. I think that's Jack Miller, of course. Yeah, Jack Miller and Underwood make up the top 10 in the McLaren and Lamborghini respectively. So yeah, we're not treated to the sort of the all the GTRs we had in Split Yellow. All you guys, going to be coming up through the field, so it'll be interesting to see how things kind of play out. We did see a few mistakes, a few hip shoulders, a few bit of rubbins racing in Split Yellow. So how do you think Split Green will get on?
I mean, we've got a little bit of a smaller grid here tonight, so I would expect, particularly as the race goes on, that it should stay relatively clean. Just with the natural gaps in the track. It's a very long track with a over 2 minute lap time. But I mean, there is a couple of places that does invite a little bit of tomfoolery, particularly early on. I mean, turn 1 is a bit dicey at the best of times, and there's always a bit of a send that can be sent. So we'll see. I hope they keep it relatively clean. I don't really know why Ben's showing us that car. But yeah, I will say one to watch as well is Buskovus a bit further down the grid. He was saying that, I believe it was Buskovus, or am I getting... No, ignore me. Ignore this analysis. It's not even Buskovus. Don't even worry.
We'll have to get back to you on the mad ramblings of Blake Griffiths another time.
Yeah,
I apologize, Blake, but I love you. But it's, going to be interesting to see how it goes. So, 45-minute race, so a fairly short race. We're not expecting people to really take tyres unless they have probably a big shunt and, the race has already been, kind of thrown down the drain. But I dare say these guys need to do something to disrupt Admiral Naeem. They need to get him on the start because we've seen the GTR in the right hands of like Lucas. He's very, very quick and doesn't seem to, necessarily chew up its tyres that much either. Ford Mustang, I've always heard the tyre wear is can be pretty bad on that car. Whether that's the same with its current, power deficit than what it used to have when it came out, we'll see. But I'm not too sure on that one. Ferrari, normally pretty renowned for its tyre life. John Hislop in the pits. Oh,
no! What are we doing? Come on, John. Yes, Stan was in yellow. I know, Aiden. My bad. I think that's on-point analysis. I think if Giacomin or Babby want to make something happen, they need to get in front of Naeem early doors, because otherwise he's just going to get away from them, I think. And they'll be left fighting for the scraps. So we'll see what they can manage. It also will be interesting. I don't quite remember what side of the road which position is on. So who is that inside line into T1?
Racing line, so P2 will be on the inside.
Yeah, okay. So that's a little bit spicy because you can try and just brake just late enough to force your car on the inside and force Naeem onto a bit of a wider line. But we'll see if Giacomin, I guess Giacomin in this instance can get that start to do so.
Sorry, I'm wrong. It's Paul has the inside. My bad.
Man, that was just years of academy training wasted.
Hey, you were on the grid, only about an hour ago. You should have known.
Everything that happened to me in that race is already forgotten. Except for the fact that I finished on track, at least, in front of Ryan Anderson. Love you, Ryan.
Get stuffed, Ryan Anderson.
Ryan and I have the, insane, just, exactly the same race pace. We always find each other on the track, no matter what.
Lupti and Saxon.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. He got a bit ahead of me after starting behind, and then we ended up within 3/10 of each other to finish the race. So, but for now, our focus is on Split Green. Admiral Naeem is leading them away single file as they are coming double file now. So Admiral Naeem will be on the inside for T1 Cam. much to
Good.
my chagrin. Yeah, I know. It's like, we'll see. We'll see if Giacomo can hang something all the way around the outside. So, I mean, outside becomes inside. So we'll see. But for now, they hold 80 as they roll around the second to last corner. Any predictions for the start here, Cameron?
Not too sure. I think everyone's getting confused as well because Hislop is missing from his grid spots. I'm not too sure what the race directors have decided, but I'm hoping everyone gets through T1 cleanly, which will not happen. But I'll leave it in your hands, Blake Griffiths. Blame the commentator.
Thank you very, very much. We're going to be rolling down the pit straight now. Don't be fooled. The finishing line is not the start line. It is up there at the gantry, at the red lights. Do you see quite a few cars not rolling over their grid boxes? So we'll see if there's any trouble to be had there. Giacomo inching ever closer, and we are green. It's a pretty good start from both of them, looking even doors. Admiral Name going very, very narrow there. Giacomo looking a little bit wide and switches back under the inside and catches Admiral Name absolutely sleeping there, but there is a little bit of a touch. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that one, but the rest of the grid makes it through T1 just fine. No incidents to report thus far. Giacomo is the leader for this race. Wow, that was an absolute, just left him in the dust. I can't believe it. But for now, Jacob Maggs jumping back down the grid a little bit, putting the pressure on Bub now as they come through this tricky section at the end of the S's, throw it in. That Ferrari probably not that big of a fan of that curb on the inside corner. I'm cutting a little bit. Oh, we're seeing someone's pulling out to the inside. I think that is that Ford Mustang on Damiano Thircolini, and Thircolini just forces him almost to take the curb, but not quite. It's going to be a drag race down the straight. We'll see if this was... there's so much happening at the back as well. There's like 6 wide. But for now, back up to the drag race. And would you believe that Mustang is pulling ahead? We'll see who is the most courageous on the brakes. Damiano going to throw it down the inside here. Just Babby just having to pull up just a bit. He might lose out to Bub now as well. Bub now having a look down the inside. They're side by side. Damiano coming better off out of there. And a big slide there for Babby. That has allowed Bub now to get through and close the door. Oh, and there's a touch. Mags just tapping the back of Glory Babby. It's going from bad to worse. He's lost about 2 positions there.
That was incredible. All the battles through the start, part side, part hammer from everyone. Everyone trying to get through cleanly, but yeah, Luca Giacomo absolutely mugging Admiral Naim at the start there. I thought it was quite weird from kind of brave from him to go so wide at the entry. Oh, as David Barker sipes through on Rob Underwood as well, and Rob trying to get the undercut. But yeah, Luca Giacomo, he kept the really wide entry and then cut across. I was so worried he was going to get clipped by Thircolini or Glory Babby at turn 1, and he was so close to being spun around. But Naim just went too deep and he couldn't get the exit. As Underwood there gets passed by Barker into the last corner. But all the risk, but all the reward for Luca Giacomo, as he is gapped Admiral Naim by 7/10 so far. But yeah, big loser Glory Babby, or dropping down from I believe P3 to P5, losing position to Thircolini and Bub now. Try to send it into turn 11. And obviously a drag race, but absolutely deep send from it as well. Thircolini back at the end of the straight. Let's see how Glory does coming up to this start straight. Not the start straight, but already getting a bit of run now on Bub now as well. Looking to turn 11 again. Deja vu from the Mustang driver here. Last lap leaves the space on the exit there for Noski, Sean Bub now. And now it's going to be a drag race. And I'm not too sure. Oh, that's David Barker up in the background. Not too sure what's happened there, but possibly with some helping as the Mustang powers ahead of the Ferrari to no one's real surprise. Will Noski do a resend like Thircolini did? Oh, he's look, but I think he's just he plays it safe. There's Noski.
Yeah, just concedes there. Babby just getting far enough ahead, not have to defend there. But yeah, we did just see David Barker in the background absolutely exiting stage right. I'm not sure if anything happened there, but we will get eyes on that in a minute. For now, Bub now just re-strategizing, seeing what he can do if there is a move to be made here on Glory Babby. is following through this very tricky section. It's one of the parts of the track that's really, really difficult in that dirty air, slinging it around the second to last corner. The Ferrari, though, not looking like it's having any trouble thus far.
Yeah, and I think it's key to play it safe from these guys. We've got all the straight line speed, so we're on board now. Jacob Merrick's going into turn 11. Let's see what happens. And wham! Does David Barker just fly across? Not too sure. Did he miss his braking marker? But he thankfully didn't make contact with the Kmart Ferrari. Not too sure what happened to Barker there, but thankfully did not take Mr. Mags with him. See now, so Jack Miller and the McLaren is behind that black Ferrari of Barker, and I think he completely misses his brakes on and does a good job to try and avoid those guys, but a little bit of lady luck as well. And yeah, Mr. Mags, make yourself to the nearest 7-Eleven and buy yourself a lotto ticket.
Yeah, that was crazy. Well done, Barker, for not doing his best to avoid everyone, but far out. That was so much speed coming through. Maybe just a whole line wrong or something there in terms of braking marker. Looking back up now, we do see Admiral Name inching ever closer to Gio Coman. When we left off with these guys, it was about 7/10. It's about 4.5 now. Let's just get another replay here. So this is Gio Coman's send, I think, on lap 1, turn 1. So it gets it out really, really wide. Waits just at the right time to send it down the inside. And that's
T1. That's racing.
Yeah, there's a tap,
Ooh.
but it's very, very minor. I think that's just really, really well strategized there from Gio Coman. Just knew what he was going to do and sent it down there. It was lovely to see.
Yeah, it was pretty decisive, and yeah, I think Amaral just kind of got himself a little bit hot. Wanted to defend the inside to stop anyone from going up to taking him by surprise, but unfortunately he had to take a real acute angle, and then kind of got bogged down trying to transition to the exit, and Luca Giacomo just sived right through there. He took a lot of risk because he came so close to being hit by the Mustang and Porsche from the second row. That was the kind of danger when you go out wide and cut across, as everyone kind of just emerges on the apex. So we see the Aston Martin, a slow blue and black McLaren of Bishop there with Underwood, I think, McLeod, and he just piles into the NSX there of Godfrey, but frankly Godfrey doesn't get turned around, and only kind of a half spin for the Aston Martin as well. So everything A-OK. Jack Miller with a 15-second penalty as well, as the stewards are starting to come through the T1 of lap 1, I imagine.
Yeah, I think we might have just seen T11. I think that was lap 1 as well. Big kerfuffle there. I was really not sure who to watch because there was some serious speed differentials between some of those cars. Yeah, we'll let the stewards play through that one. Jumping back down the grid here with Noah Reinhardt. I do see Luke Marvel rocking that Pro-Am badge now after that really, really stellar couple of races that he's had. It's good to see.
Yeah, he got a pretty quick promotion after the first round where he did show his turn at speed. I believe we were at Paul Ricard. But then just as things go there, I think he had a bit of a shocker with Suzuka and Watkins Glen. Not the best races, but clearly shows pace as well, which is part of the reason why he's moved up to Pro-Am. But it's not always about pace. And speaking of pace, I'm already pushing for Luca Giacomo. Luca goes to the inside to defend the apex as the GTR holds on the outside, maybe looking for the crisscross undercut. But can he get it done? The apex is going to go to Luca Giacomo for the next corner. They run side by side. GTR from the outside. Room is given, racing room has applied, and now it might switch around, but I think Luca's going to close the door. Yep, he's got to cover the inside for the next corner as well. That's smart driving from both of them. Damn good as well. Holding outside by turn 16.
Very, very sportsman right racing. That's great to see. Giacomo just plays our car very quickly to on a name. Jumping back now for the last episode, we do see the lead is ahead of Babby. The timing tower is up, so I may lose sourcing here, but for now we are riding on the hood of Glory Babby as he hunts down this Porsche. This guy's Porsche. Damiano gonna have to look back a little bit here. We'll see if this Mustang can get a little bit of a run up to T1. T1 obviously widening quite a bit. Damiano feeling the need to defend a little bit, moving the inside ever so slightly, but it's not quite there for Glory Babby just yet. And that compromised line has well compromised. Damiano through the second part, but for now, there's nothing. Big wiggle there for Admiral Name.
Yep, we apologise about the audio. People will get it sorted out. You know, it's just how we run things. You know, it's intentional. We promise. But we'll get things sorted along. Hopefully, we can hear us through the scrabbles. But yeah, Admiral Name running on the coattails of Giacomo right now, and I dare say Fercolini and Babby were pretty close, because the end of the Sector 2 timing beam is right pretty much at the end of the straight as they break into the end of Turn 12. Speaking of Turn 12, we're going to be arriving there very quickly. Are we going to be arriving side by side, though, between Naim and Giacomo, between the two six-cylinders, both with two sets of turbochargers, but one is a bit more in favour of the Japanese mark as Luca defends the inside again. I think the GTR's going to have a nose ahead. We'll see how they go. He's slightly ahead on the outside line. Room's given, and Giacomo just kind of bleeds across and gets ahead. I think there was no extra room really necessarily given there from Giacomo, and hard but firm racing from both cars.
Yeah, I think Giacomo just edged far enough to not have to give a lot of room. Name just having to back out a little bit there, but there's clearly something on at the end of that back straight from Name. He just has to line it up just right, see if he can get a little bit of a better drive, or maybe try and spook Giacomo into turn 11 and force a poor exit. But for now, jumping back with these guys around the last corner, we're going to do it all again.
Yeah, this is going to be taxing on the mental state, I imagine, of Luca or Giacomo, just constantly under attack every lap. Both of these cars pretty good on the straight. Both of these cars pretty good on the tyres, I should say. Does even get really close into turn 1, but not enough to really send it. It's very difficult to send it into turn 1, I find, as well, because the inside line is kind of a little bit more aggressive. It's the rise over the crest, which kind of just makes it's a shorter distance to the braking zone, but it's kind of harder to get the braking right, so you end up having a longer. You have to kind of brake earlier on the inside. It's a little bit of a different scenario it is to most tracks. Let's see here. Obviously, Luca pretty good through this part of the track. The twisty S's of Sector 1 does not do well enough to build a decent gap, but it's not going to be enough to kind of save him from Naim. But Naim might catch him a little bit later. I think he was a little bit, kind of ran alongside. He might be able to slingshot past him a little bit better come this time around.
Yeah, we'll see. That Ferrari just making hay through those S's, that twisty section where the GTR is struggling just a little bit, but this is where the GTR shines. But yeah, you can see Giacomo just able to extend that gap just enough to not even really have to defend that. Well, not have to defend that at all. No doubts about it. So he survives this round. He's just got to do it about 16 more times if he wants to hang on to P1.
Yeah, this is a lot to deal with. And I will say I was kind of surprised. Like Fercolini really has seemed to have actually started to break away a little bit from Glory Babby. I was expecting those two to be a little bit of a one-horse race in favour of the horse badge to the Mustang. And I see Jack Miller trying to follow Rob Underwood a little bit wide on the exit. McLaren's pretty good for these fast corners as well, but Rob Underwood has really shown some really good pace and speed out of the Lamborghini, a car which is not so favoured anymore these days, but he's showing it is still a very decent car, especially through some of the corners as well. You see how he runs up to turn 1 right now. It looks like John Rad there, the orange McLaren, getting a little bit squirrely on the exit. The BMW, I believe, of that is a Manxel. I do apologise, but I think definitely someone new to this season, because I haven't had to say that name before. But they're doing well there in P11 as well for the silver-rated BMW.
Yeah, that's a new name to me as well. So I do think Manxel is a new face to Octane. Doing very, very well. Just smidged outside that silver podium for now. So solid effort. It looks like they're keeping that pressure up on Rad. You can see that gap very, very minuscule. Taking a nice and tight line there. Going to open up this next corner. John Rad is definitely under pressure here. That BMW looks like it's on a string right now. It's absolutely lovely through this twisty section. You would expect that McLaren to be doing a little bit better as they're both going to run down to the back end hairpin. Manxel is going to have a look to the inside and is sticking with it. Oh, that is a little bit maybe naughty. I think Rad might have had to turn out of that one. But they are muscling their way through Manxel and Rad. It is going to be a drag race down to this third hairpin of the Circuit of the Americas, but Manxel might have the legs here. We'll see, yeah, and does just pull ahead before this braking zone, but we'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that one.
Yeah, that one was a bit tricky. Like, Manxel, I think, was maybe arriving a little bit late, I want to say, but I feel like the McLaren also turned in a little bit early. Like, really, like he wasn't vying for the best of exits with the how early he turned in, I felt. But
Yeah.
we'll leave it to the stewards. So I think Maxwell wasn't expecting that, but we'll leave it to the stewards before we go further. Now, Jack Miller does have this 15-second penalty. What do you do, Underwood, if Jack Miller starts to get... Oh, actually, I think there was a touch there. I'm not too sure what happened through the penultimate corner there. I think Underwood was a little bit wide, and Dessay got a little bit close for comfort. If there wasn't a touch, it was also close, and Jack Miller definitely had to get on the brakes a little bit. And looking behind, Tarab Bank in the 786 Porsche as well. Underwood is defending the inside. He's on the inside line. He doesn't want to get a car up the inside. Jack Miller goes to the outside, tries to run better, and yeah, Underwood suffers from the break on the inside. He goes deep, and Jack Miller goes through as well. So now the Lamborghini has to worry about Mr. Tarab Bank as well. You can say that inside line is so hard to break on there because of how much steeper the crest is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that really, really illustrated the point that you were making earlier about taking that inside line. You saw Underwood just supremely compromised, having to a really, really sharp turn. Oh my. Wow, that was a very, very racy entry there from Bank, who manages to get that thing pulled up. But yeah, Underwood really suffering, and Miller just able to capitalize on that.
Yep, doing a good job so far. And this trio now descends down the straight as well, and again around the ringer. Let's see what Underwood can do. I dare say Underwood's not going to be threatening that McLaren too much. Not the most renowned car in the straight line, kind of to be honest, one of the weakest cars in the straight line, but I'm not too sure if that's still the case. Tarab Bank not really there to capitalize either. It does get close to the McLaren, naturally, with the slipstream, but not enough to make a move. Still there, quite close to Jack Miller, and see if Jack can find his pace and pull away, because he clearly was maybe a little bit quicker. But Robin, looking at the inside again, as a wide line from Miller. And Miller goes wide over the orange sausage curbs as well. If he's got the pace, he needs to kind of find it, because right now he's just all under attack. But through this corner, I don't think Robin was going to have an answer for him.
Yeah, just getting a couple of penalties coming through. We do apologize. It does seem like the race control bot has taken a holiday for the time being. Ben Oliver copying a 10-second penalty for a collision on the second hairpin of lap 1. And Callum Lloyd with a 15-second penalty for contact in sector 3, also on lap 1. So the stewards still working through lap 1. We are over a third into the race this time being. Whoa, looking a little bit slidey there from Giacomo, but all under control. Name just with a bit of a wider line both times though, so both of them having a little bit of trouble early doors through the S's.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much is Giacomo really pushing to keep Naim at bay. I have to say he is doing a good job to kind of maximize everything he can out of sector 1, just to give him enough of enough margin over the GTR on the straight here, because clearly one is very much stronger than the other. Naim maybe a little bit closer, the gap at 4/10, and 2 car lengths right now as well. He's really closing in. I think we're going to go for a move, and Giacomo goes to the inside, and Naim still holding around the outside. Maybe another crisscrossing try again. No, trying to hold it around the outside. He's surely going to be shown the door, and he does get a little bit of a tap on the front fender. Does Naim, and Luca's really going to make him fight for it. It's interesting to see how things go on there. I think that was quite, we talked about things being pretty firm. I dare say that was another case. Oh, it's Jack Miller there. Replay now. He absolutely clobbered the back of the orange McLaren. That was J-Rad. And I think that explains what his 15-second penalty was for earlier.
Yeah, definitely. It also explains John Rad's a little bit of trouble. We saw a little bit of a happy tail, and that McLaren diffuser damage is absolutely not what you want. But yeah, I think I was a bit cheeky by Giacomo, and I don't know if he left enough space all the way out there. We'll see if anything's said, but we are jumping back a little bit, back to our P3 battle. Babby has still managed to attach himself to the rear bumper of Damiano Thurcolini. Just kidding. We're going to the top of the grid. We do see Giacomo having to defend the inside. It is that narrow line. Name all the way on the outside, but yeah, just not quite there, unfortunately, and does have to tuck well back in. Actually loses a little bit of time through that excursion wide.
Yeah, Giacomo knows where to place his car right now, and he knows the GTR doesn't have the turn-in that the Ferrari does, so holding him around the outside, longer line, car that naturally understeers a bit more than yours, it's just the obvious place. And obviously, Duca seems to be experienced enough. He's not doing what Underwood did. He's getting the car properly stopped for the apex if he is going to take that inside. To the point where I think he's holding the car so much that he doesn't get crisscrossed or undercut by Mr. Naim as well, trying to get back at him. But we'll see how things go. Sorry.
I just want to say that was a fantastic shot choice there, Benning. No, I loved that. Riding on the back of Damiano's car.
That might be a bit of weaving. He went left and then right. Now is he going to move again? I think he is, but I think that's fair. And Admiral Naim going to go to the inside now, and this looks pretty good. But another crisscross now by Giacomo. He's going to be on the outside now for turn 13. He has got a fair margin ahead as well. Leaves enough on the apex there for the GTR. Still going to be running side alongside. Oh, there's a big touch, and it sends Admiral Naim wide into the barriers as well. Oh, the calamity of things right now, and surely one for the stewards as Admiral Naim there is stranded on the side for the white and blue GTR. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Blake, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one to the stewards. Our battle is up in flames. I can't believe it. They were doing so well, leaving each other room, and then there just was none. As they came through that really technical section. But Damiano inherited second place, and we'll see if he inherits anything more, but we are going to get that replay now. So yeah, good space left on the inside here by Giacomo. There's space, it's the inside.
We can't call that.
I can't, yeah. I'm not, like, it does, yeah, like, gun to my head, it does look like Naim is still, like, aiming for that last apex. Oh, Ben's gonna make us choose. Cause, yeah, there's not heaps of space for Giacomo to get all the way out there, but we'll leave that to the stewards. There's a reason why I commentate and why I don't steward.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Tricky.
I've been lost for words frankly of all that between Giacomo. It was a good battle between them. It was hard. It was, absolutely no quarter given.
Yeah, I think.
Should I be surprised it ended in one way?
Yeah. It was tricky. I think it's also seeing like onboard hands and everything is really important, and I think that's the advantage the stewards get, whereas we're making those calls from like way outside the car on the cinematic angles. It's not always.
You know what I think? I've thought this a long time, and to be honest, I feel like this track is usually the fault with some of these collisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky part to go through.
A lot of these are very weird, like very tight apex corners. And to be fair, this instance, the collision in this case wasn't, but it's such a weird sort of like off. It's not a 90-degree corner. It's not really one line, but it's such a weird place. So if two cars are silent, like, they kind of converge. They kind of just built it like we want them to collide. I don't know.
It's one of those.
I think I'm just trying to manifest that.
It's one of those things where it's like if you're side by side through that section, you're losing a lot of time because it's like so slow and you're having to give so much room through there. So I think it does people end up converging. But yeah, it was a lot. It's a lot. But we do see David Barker on that recovery effort after exiting stage right a bit earlier. Currently on the attack on our other Lamborghini in split green. with McLeod. But a lot of damage on this Ferrari, so we'll see if he has any sort of speed in the straights or in the twisty bits for now. But yeah, it's looking a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, and good to see Derek Barker is going along, and as far as I can tell as well, I'm not too sure if Amaral Naim is still circulating right now. And for the triple free, I can't see him on the track map number either, so
Yeah,
seeing that he didn't really move after the contact, I think that might be an indication that he is not continued the race.
No, I think he might have pulled up stumps for the day. We are just getting a replay here, looking at Damiano and then Babby and Bubnow, I believe, just coming. Oh no, we're looking at Parker. Wow.
There was still margin in that. Again, closer.
As Damiano would say, well, he wouldn't say because you couldn't fit a chicken in there. A chicken would not have fit in that gap. That was crazy.
At the standard measurement as well.
Yes, it's an official measurement of Octane Online Racing is one chicken.
One chook, I guess.
One chook.
Anyway, Mr. Rob Underwood is under attack from Mr. Tarat Bank. Never mind chooks and all. How many chooks is that between them? Oh, 10, closing to 5 right now.
Oh, that's like 3.
Right. Ooh, I was going to go with the tally ho, the cigarette paper method. But, clearly chooks are the preferred method. Maybe we should just make it a whole unit. Screw metric and imperial, one chook.
Yeah. But for now, looking at these guys have been sort of back and forth for a while here. We do see Miller still ahead of them. Hasn't actually quite gotten as far up the road considering the pace that we thought that Miller had. It's still less than a second. I do wonder... I do wonder if Manxell might be able to find themselves in this rabble. Tarab taking a little bit of a narrower line here, maybe just to try and spook Rob. But for now, Underwood is completely unfazed in that neon green and black Lamborghini.
Yep, and I think, him losing the position, he'll know it's not a big deal losing it to Jack Miller. Granted, Jack has gapped him by... Actually, no, only a second, sorry. I was looking at Jack Miller's gap to Mr. Mags, but only 1 second ahead. And, if that's all he's able to get out in this shorter space of time, he's going to easily still be within that 15-second margin.
Yeah, I think it was wise from Underwood to let Miller go. I think Miller does have, just enough pace to not get in Underwood's way, but Underwood will inherit that position back. Oh, that's menacing. Oh, that's menacing. Oh, that's menacing. Glory Babby just sizing up Damiano here as they come into that third hairpin. He's going to look to the outside, but it's not quite there. If there was about 50 more meters, Babby would have been chewing up Porsche for lunch. But for now, Damiano does survive as they come through this twisty section. That Porsche probably feeling a lot better. I do see that Mustang just running out a little bit wide. Not too wide, but a little bit wide there, catching a little bit of that sausage.
Yeah, so I think the Porsche, as granted, not so great on the straights, but I feel like, surely with the extra downforce, I'm not too sure how the Porsche is with tyres. I know it's a little bit of black magic to some people like me in terms of driving dynamics, but, necessarily, if you've got to run more downforce and just have more natural grip in the car, then you're not necessarily going to be using the tyres as much. You don't have to, absolutely burden them like you do on some front engine cars, because they don't have the mechanical grip, so you kind of use up the grip even more. But Porsches, I think, will be, I dare say, looking good towards the end of this race. And dare say, I was going to bring it up as well, Damiano Focalini only 6 seconds off Luca Giacomin, so he'll be very interested to see what the stewards do about that contact between Giacomin and Amaral Naim. Yeah,
definitely. I've heard, not firsthand, I'm not a Porsche person, but it can be a little bit rough on its rear tires. Obviously, a lot of downforce and the engine slung behind that axle. There's a lot of downward pressure there.
Look at the gap, though, he's able to make over this Mustang, and especially this corner that coming onto the Porsche on the exit. Between these two cars, it was already a pretty big gulp, but I think that's what's also keeping him ahead of this Mustang, because obviously the Mustang with its straight line speed and slipstream is making a big difference, but he's doing enough, a little bit like Giacomin was. He was doing enough But I think he's doing a little bit more because he is being able to keep out of danger zone from Mr. Babby right now on this lap in particular.
Yeah, it's quite a nice, relaxing gap there for Thermaltake. If he keeps that up, Babby will not be challenging him. But yeah, jumping back to these guys, there is a bit of a battle still sort of brewing. I mean, Miller obviously carrying that invoice. Bank, we'll see if Bank can sort of make something happen here. They really are ebbing and flowing. Ooh, a little bit awkward under brakes there from Underwood. It did invite Bank very, very close, within a few chickens' length, if you will.
I'm gonna bring this up again.
Yeah.
Damiano will love it. He'll message me later and be like, "Oh my god, Blake, you said the chicken thing," and I'll be like, "You got it, man. You got it, Damiano."
How many times can we fit chicken into any sentence? Yes. I think, to be honest, I think we're kind of seeing Underwood and Miller probably had very similar pace, but I think the McLaren was just damn much stronger than the Lambo in the slipstream, and hence why he was all over him. And Underwood's kind of been saved now by that slipstream from the McLaren from Tarab Bank, but Tarab very close here, 1 car length for 30 car trucks into the next braking zone, and the Porsche's going to look to the inside. He's got a nose ahead, gets it stopped on the apex. Underwood gets ahead though, and just brakes a little bit more with conviction and gets to the apex and fends off Mr. Tarab Bank.
Yeah, it's getting ever closer there. Bank is losing out a little bit, trying to establish himself on the apex for this next lap, but we'll see if he can make something happen. Do just get a note in we are on board with now. Maxell did get a 5-second little bit of a tap on the wrist, I believe, for that thing we saw with John Rad a little bit earlier into this upcoming hairpin.
Yep. And unfortunate, but 5 seconds, not the end of the world, especially when you got 4.4 seconds to J-Rad right now as well. I do not recall that contact. I'll take your word for it as well. Interesting to see David Barker is slowly getting through the field a little bit. We can see him there in the black Ferrari. A little bit of front damage. There's McLeod here on the back of Luke Marvel with Barker there in reserve. Lamborghini should try and get a better run from the BMW, but the inline 6 torque is enough to pull away. And Luke, he's made 2 moves there. I don't think you want to be making any more moves unless it's for the braking zone. Or not even make it before the braking zone at the very least. And yeah, don't want to get pinged for weaving. He defends the inside, and the Lambo, the black and green Mustang there, I think of a Ferrugia, gets a little bit wide, and looks like Underwood and Miller are gonna have another ding dong right now, as Underwood there with a better run through this corner, as Miller is just holding on to this inside line. Definitely not making his tyres feel any better. Carrying a lot more speed, but I think he went a lot further. Surely that's going to be a track cut, and we haven't seen any track cut drive-throughs yet, but surely some of them must be getting close.
I hate to do it to you, but we did see Callum Lloyd with a drive-through a fair bit earlier. But it has only been one. But for now, I think this move is definitely on. A bit of a scrappy exit out of the last corner. Bank heading to the inside. They are going to be side by side. Oh, that was very, very close, but they are still door to door on the exit. And Underwood does have enough overlap to have entitlement to this corner. Bank goes pretty deep there, but he is just going to be able to eke it out and get himself ahead of Underwood. Very nicely done.
Yeah, it all started from the last corner, and Tarab got a lot better run, held the inside, knew what he had to do because he failed the lap or so before. Braked a little bit deeper as well, and was able to hold it around turn 2 and had the apex for turn 3 as well, which kind of decided the move. It seems to see what he can do now. Will he have enough grunt to get away from the Lamborghini on the straight? Lambo not great on the straight, Porsche also not great on the straight. Will he? I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough to get much of a slipstring there from the McLaren. As Jack Miller starts to run away a little bit. Alistair McLeod now on the back of Luke Marble, going to turn 11, the danger zone that we've seen so much this race. Luca defends the inside line, Lambo on the outside, David Barker right there in the black Ferrari as well, right up the coattails of the Lamborghini, and surely might get the move done. Lambo kind of moves out David Barker's going to try and get that slipstream from the BMW as well. He's going to hold around the outside. There's none of them really making any impact on the straight, but David Barker is going to send it to the inside, also close to the back of the BMW. Gets a little ahead of the Lamborghini and surely up into P14 for the black Ferrari.
Yeah, very decisive move there from Barker. It does just go extremely deep, which almost invites McLeod back into this conversation. But does manage to hold on there. That front splitter with damage not helping his case in these corners.
Yeah, definitely not as well. But here's one down. I think he's got a bit of a gap if he does get ahead of Luke Marbleton. Lower Reinhardt. He's actually made up quite a few positions. I saw he was kind of closer to around P20 in qualifying. But definitely made up some good moves right now on the back of J-Rad as well as we speak.
Yeah, it's just for P2 and Pro Am. He's gonna have a bit of a look to the inside. Move. Yeah, that was a little bit spicy, almost naughty there from Noah, but does get it back outside and stopped in time. It's just gonna have to be a bit patient. I think he can potentially get something done here on John Rad if he can line it up. But for the moment, yeah, has to pull out of that one. I think John, as we mentioned earlier, is probably carrying a little bit of damage, particularly in that diffuser. So that tail is, you can see, is wagging around just a little bit. So Noah just needs to be patient. I think he'll be able to tee something up here and get himself a really, really nice result.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a snip up the inside into turn one. Rad kind of maybe saw him go to the inside and maybe decided to cover it off, whether it was a bit close, I'm not too sure. Obviously, from our perspective, it looked quite bad. Very deep there from Noah Reinhardt. He's not going to get the best exit, already going to lose a car length to the McLaren. And I dare say the McLaren's exit was better as well. So not going to help his case this lap around with less than 10 minutes to go. Might have to ask if anyone in the steward box, as you know, Diabolls or anyone can. Are we up to the leaders incident? Is maybe get a knowledge on decision? I think like they would tell us if it was. So I'm gonna trust they're not up to it yet. I'll see here. McLeod went back up the inside of Barker at turn one and closed the door off on the exit as well. Barker had to go around those sausage curbs, not get unsettled. That was quite a move back there from McLeod, I have to say.
Oh, I think that was a bit naughty. He didn't leave a lot of space on the exit there.
I don't know what to think anymore after this race.
No, I personally think that was a little naughty. We'll see what Barker thinks. But yeah, I don't. If I had to guess, there was no penalty that came from that Giacomin and Neem touch that we saw earlier, because we haven't had too many more penalties coming through. Although the last one we did get was for lap 7, so we'll see if Diabolls can keep us updated on that situation. These guys still attached at the hip. It's been fluctuating a little bit, but it is about half a second right now, or about 40 chickens, if you will.
It's Blake's idea. It's not mine, I promise.
Look, you said it like twice, and now I'm just running with it. As in terms of measuring in chickens. The chicken...
That meme. It's not the lizard meme anymore, it's the chicken meme.
It's just, the chicken was about the space in the hood of the car when you've had a really big accident, but now we're just using it for whatever we want.
You.
You did it too! You're on this sinking shit with me, Cameron Thistlethwaite.
Absolute madhouse here.
Speaking of madhouse, jumping back to Noah Reinhardt is still very, very close. We do see that battle in the background that we were looking at to Noah, though a couple of car lengths still back from John Rad, so not quite been able to tee up anything as I suggested, unfortunately, but looking relatively good right now. He's only got 7 minutes to go. We've only got a handful of laps here, Cam.
How many chickens were laps?
It's not a unit of time. It's a distance measurement, Cameron.
Yeah, you can still measure that.
What? That's the lifespan.
Sure, like chickens. How many Kessel run? How many the chicken run?
How many parsecs?
Yeah, that's
or like
another.
parpecs, am I right?
No,
Am I right?
I will leave you on that one. Bye. Sayonara. Anyway.
At least it's only a 45-minute race, Cam.
6 minutes and I'm free.
For
Anyway,
now, John
speaking of
Ratt's
which.
free of Noah Reinhardt, though. Noah taking a nice wide line there, gets a really nice little exit. He's going to put him right on the bumper of John Rad. But nothing has come to fruition just yet for Noah. Maybe just struggling a little bit in this dirty air for the time being. John, very cautious through those S's sections, not wanting to take any of those curbs, which the McLaren does not find particularly agreeable. Big shot of flames, bit of a slide, very deep there from John Rad as well. See if Noah can make any magic happen coming into the second hairpin of the Circuit of the Americas.
Now, it was many moons ago, and the last time I drove a McLaren, the COTA was one of the tracks on the list as John Rod takes a... Maybe he just likes that early turn in, but it does compromise his exit a little bit, as Noah Reinhardt is going to be right on a lot closest as he's ever been coming onto this straight now. But I was going to say, if I remember, the McLaren, some of the setups here tend to just... It's basically a low wing, no wing setup, and hence why it's half decent on the straights, but Noah, with enough slipstream, is going to have a look to the inside. John Rad is covering off. Is he going to get it stopped? Because he's looking pretty hot, and he does on the exit as well. So good response there from Noah, having to dive up the inside. I think that was a little bit, maybe just a reactionary. I'm not sure that was really on at all. But frankly, both of them are still going right now.
Yeah, that was a bit cheeky for Noah. I think getting a little bit frustrated there with that second move into the next corner. Obviously, pulled it up in time, no harm, no foul, but I don't think that was ever quite going to be on.
Yeah. I see what you did. You made a Noah chicken meme.
Did I? I didn't even mean to that time.
Foul. No foul.
You're just describing me chicken puns at this point.
Yeah, it's not, it's all love and war in your mind. No room for poultry here. Anyway, enough of the fried goodness. This weekend, Blake, 18th October, Duos. We are having on.
We are.
Remember?
Yeah, because I've been trying to organise commentary for it. 7:30 p.m.
I have your ping turned off.
You shouldn't. You're in trouble. You're gonna get Cameron Thistleweight. But yeah, 3-hour race at Spa Francorchamps. Duos is really one of our
Falcon champs.
Chicken champs. Franco chicks.
Chicken Dino Nuggies.
Yeah, it should be really good. Yeah. I reckon I could kick your ass.
Wow. Let's not find out, frankly. I don't think anyone. That one's, we couldn't even. I don't think we'll be pay-per-viewing that one. I think we couldn't even give that one away.
No, I think that would be a really, really sad affair, to be honest with you.
That's a live leak, worthy.
Speaking of sad affairs, that is a lot of curb for Glory Babby, and I think that's going to put a bit of a pin in any sort of move that was going to be happening sooner or later. And there's not a lot of time to make any of that time back, so I think Babby is going to probably have to be happy with a third place on the podium for the time being.
Mm-hmm. And also, just to continue off, we got the Enduros as well in 15th of November, so just pretty much a month's time. So if you want to come along for Silverstone 12 hours with 2-time progression, so virtually 24 hours, which should be very interesting to see, I imagine. But yeah, looking forward to the 3 hours of Spas. Stephen Ferrugia here, having a look here at Luke Marble. I believe that is Ben Olber that we saw before, and goes very wide, does the Ford Mustang onto the off camber and into the marbles, and the Aston Martin does get ahead. And it's kind of recovery drive, but with 10-second penalty, that's very wide. That's surely a track cut.
Yeah, just using up those speed tokens just before the race finishes. So you have quite a few people in this battle here. David Barker leading that charge behind Noah Reinhardt here, about 15 seconds down the road. You have Marvel, Oliver, Ferrugia, and not Busk in that battle, though. But Oliver carrying 10 seconds, so Ferrugia is going to be the winner there.
I do think we're teeing something up that's a little bit cheeky in a moment as we do get the replay. The aforementioned replay. Just see Marvel and Barker. I think this is coming into that second hairpin. Barker with a big send down the inside. Marvel turning in and finding the side of Barker. I think that's a little bit naughty there from Marvel. Barker's definitely got that thing pulled up in time.
Yeah, it was a send, but it was a fair enough send. He made the apex, got the car stopped, didn't force Marvel. I think Marvel just turned it a bit early, and made things quite. Looks like Luca Giacomo is going to circulate around again for another lap. Looks like there is, I want to say, no change in no penalty coming their way for the lead. Was quite decisive. So Luca Marvel gone back up the inside, gets a hip check as well from the Lamborghini as those two. The Mustang arrives on scene as well, all going off at turn 13. Thankfully, none of them have been turned around. Have I spoke too soon as we continue now to turn 14, where we saw the two leaders collide into 15 now as well. BMW still on the inside of the Mustang, surely going to get this move done, and yep, he is going to head. And I think we have caught up on where we saw before as the Aston Martin got up the inside as the Mustang went wide. So thank you very much to Ben getting the cameras. Never mind Billy Joel and the Piano Man sing us a song. The cameraman fetches a replay. The cameraman, it should be. He does a great job, does Mr. Hignett as well. Looking forward to tomorrow as well. I believe me and Sean will be commentating Le Mans Ultimate, and Lord rejoice as well. The one time in Le Mans Ultimate we got the same track. We don't have to call a different track. It's COTA again in the WEC series for not for Split Blue, but rest in peace Split Blue. That is going to be interesting to see with hypers as well. Before it's just madness with GTs. We're going to add a couple of hypercars to the mix as well, and of course we've got Split Red after that. That will all be coming along tomorrow. Now, final lap now. Damiano Fercolini really is in trouble right now, because I think this is the closest as Glory Babby's ever been to Porsche along this straight. We see he's closing in one chook at a time, getting ever so closer. What are you going to do, Damiano? Are you going to turn in early? Are you going to go for the inside? He doesn't. He lets the Ford Mustang go up the inside. And interesting now into the braking zone. They're still alongside. Going to try and hold it around the outside. Does Mr. Fercolini. Gets a little bit shoved, but all fair and game. Room given, and he's going to have the inside now for turn 13. Goes a little bit wide himself. Going to allow the Mustang to draw alongside. Is it going to be deja vu again between the leaders? No, it's not. They're all vying for P2 right now. Into turn 14 as well. Sorry, for turn 16. And now for the long right-hander, but I think Mr. Fercolini is going to hold on for this P2 as Luca Giacomo surely coming up to the finish line right now. Excellent stuff between those two.
Yeah, wow, that was some really, really nice racing there. Fercolini just giving up that first hairpin in that section, but counter-attacking into the second, very, very tricky part. So really masterfully done, a great piece of defense there from Damiano, and he does hold out to take P2. So Giacomo P1, Fercolini P2, Glory Babby P3, Sean Bobnow P4, Jacob Max P5. Didn't see a lot from those two, but for now it's not all resolved. There is still action happening on the track. David Barker leading this train for the just outside the top 10 honours. It's very, very close. McLeod in that number 8 Lamborghini. We'll see if there's anything to be done in these last two corners. Is there a Hail Mary to be made? Not quite. David Barker gets a relatively good line. He is going to defend the inside. McLeod has a little bit of a look, but it's not quite there. And Barker is able to just hold on. And that's going to be Barker, McLeod, Marvel, Oliver, and I missed Ferrugia, and that's Busk. Wow, so right up to the line for a couple of these guys, Cam.
Yeah, great stuff run like that. McLeod really made Barker have to defend into that last corner. I thought maybe he could go for the undercut, but he kind of sent himself a little bit too deep as well. Couldn't do that switchback. I'm not too sure the run to the line if he would have had the distance as well to make it. But that is going to be everyone now done for here at Split Green. Great racing all around. It was pretty decisive between the leaders. A big fight between Admiral Naim and Luca Giacomo came in the way of Luca Giacomo as a result. And it'll be interesting to see how things go as, Damiano Fercolini sold himself a P2 as well. The Penrite Mustang failed to finish P2 on track like it did a week ago in real life, but Glory Babby returned to the series as well in P3. a valiant effort as well. Great job. And yeah, Bub now and Mags there. Pretty much we didn't see him at all, but came home P4 and 5. Great job by those guys.
Yeah, super quiet race, which is good for them. It's always nice when you just have a nice, easy one, bring it home in the top 5. It's nothing to complain about. So just do a final little pit walk. We'll get over to some results in just a moment. But yeah, I hope, if he doesn't do it himself, I'm going to chuck in that lap 1 T1 overtake into the thermal overtake of the week, because that was absolutely delicious by Giacomin.
Yep. Anyway, just waiting. I think because Godfrey didn't finish the race, he kind of parked up early. I think the game is confusing itself, which doesn't take much, frankly.
Right.
And we're just waiting for the server to tick over. A couple of cars have left, which I hope is not going to mess things up even more.
No, it should be okay, but we are going to have to wait for it to tick over to the next thing. So just standing in the pit lane with a bunch of these bozos.
Yep. Still standing around. Just,
Yeah. It's literally nighttime. Go home. All right, Cameron, would you like to take us through our final results, please?
Sure. So let's look at Giacomin. Takes the win in the Ferrari 296 for Pro overall, followed by Fercolini and Babby for the top 3 overall. In silver, really headed up by Sean Bubb now in the Ferrari, Underwood in the Lamborghini, and Mengzel as well, I think on his debut, gets a podium in silver despite the penalty. Turab Bank for Pro-Am takes the win as well. Good race by him as well. I think he came out P7 overall, followed by Rad and Reinhardt. Rad came out on top between those two. And for Am, we got Bishop, Bartoletti, and Lloyd, all of which I don't think we saw too much in that whole race. But overall, for COTA, I think we did all right, frankly.
Yeah, definitely. Some great battles throughout there. A couple of chickens. Do you have a driver of the day, Cameron?
I hadn't thought about it, to be honest. I have to say it was. I think we all kind of benefited, but we can't win that for sure. I'll give it to Turab Bank. This is the first one that springs to mind. Pro-Am in the Porsche did a good job. Did a few good overtakes that we caught as well, and yes, a great job by him.
Yeah, I actually had Turab Bank in mind as well. I think he moved up a little bit, won Pro-Am, a couple of really nice moves, very just strategic and decisive race there. So hats off to Turab. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Catch us tomorrow night for LMU here at COTA, and then for Split Red here at COTA as well. We'll be seeing Cameron again. Thank you, Cam, and thank you, Ben, for everything that you do. And we will catch you all later.
Bye.